Asterisk Chapter 61. Her lifeline Rowan. I raked my fingers through my disheveled hair, unable to tear my gaze from Ava's serene expression as she lay asleep before me. The remnants of tears glistened on her cheeks, stark reminders of the emotional turmoil that had engulfed her. Watching her like this shattered me. Ava, who had always been so adept at concealing her feelings, had finally let down her guard, and the rawness of it all was difficult to bear. It was as if a tidal wave of her anguish was crashing over both of us, she, unaware of the profundity of her sorrow, and me, fully conscious of how her struggle was weaving itself into the very fabric of my being. I took a seat by her side, my fingers gliding through her thick, luxurious hair. How had I never noticed just how soft it was before? The simple act of touching her felt like pure bliss. Ava sighed softly in her sleep, her features relaxing, as if the burdens of the day were fading away like mist in the morning sun. In her dreams, she found solace, no shadows to haunt her, no demons to chase her. I knew it was probably a bit unsettling, but I couldn't help but find peace in the act of watching her sleep. It had become a ritual for me. I did it yesterday, and here I was, inexplicably drawn to do it again today. Even with the dark circles under her eyes that spoke of sleepless nights, she was breathtaking, and I couldn't fathom how I ever deluded myself into thinking she was less worthy than Emma. Planting a gentle kiss on her cheek, I stood, every fiber of my being resisting the urge to crawl under the covers beside her. There was an unexpected yearning tugging at me, a desire to be close to offer her comfort, a stark contrast to the distance I had kept when we were married. Back then, I had shied away from her touch. Yet now, as I stood there, it was all I could think about. Reluctantly, I left her room and stepped out of her house, taking a deep breath as I slipped into my car. The temptation to turn back was strong, but I knew she wouldn't want me there. Just because she allowed my presence didn't mean she had forgiven me for my role in her pain. I hadn't even asked for her forgiveness yet. I suppose I intended to one day. But I needed her to be stable before I approached such a fragile topic. With a sigh, I pulled out my phone and dialed my twin. His voice came through on the first ring. "Meet me at the club," I instructed before hanging up, already knowing he would comply without question. As I drove away, I cast one last glance at Ava's house, a visual anchor that weighed heavily on me. About 30 minutes later, I arrived at one of my clubs. Entering through the VIP entrance reserved for me and a select few, I was greeted by the bouncer with a nod. The pulsing music assaulted my senses, pounding in my skull like a relentless drum. I hurried through the crowd, the bouncer parting the sea of bodies for me until I reached my private booth, where the clamor faded to a mere whisper. The bouncer took up his position, vigilantly guarding against the occasional overzealous patrons hoping for a glimpse of celebrity or free drinks. As I settled into my chair, my personal bartender slipped in with my drink, knowing my preference without needing to ask. It was a small comfort in an otherwise tumultuous evening. "What's got you in such a foul mood?" Gabe, my twin, entered and immediately assessed my demeanor. Younger by merely 3 minutes, he was the extrovert, while I had always leaned toward the somber side of life. "Nothing," I replied tersely, leaning back with a frown. But my mind was a whirlwind, swirling with the image of Ava standing perilously close to that cliff. The memory of her taking a tentative step forward had nearly cleaved my heart in two. I had never experienced fear like that, the palpable, suffocating terror that gripped me as I envisioned her life hanging by a thread. What would the world look like if she had fallen? The thought alone sent chills down my spine. She was so utterly shattered, and all I wanted was to be the one to help her pick up the pieces. "I don't know what I would have done if I had been late," I admitted, shaking my head slightly. It was bizarre, the bond we shared. If she had died, a part of me knew I would have withered alongside her. "You forget I know you better than you know yourself, brother," Gabe said as he settled opposite me. "Ava," I breathed, her name almost a prayer on my lips, laced with an anguish that cut deeper than I had anticipated. "You care about her." "Of course I fucking care about her. She's the mother of my son," I shot back, frustration spilling over. But deep down, I knew there was more to it. Ava was spiraling out of control, and I felt powerless to save her. I had spent so long pushing her away that I felt lost in what she truly needed from me. "It's more than that, big brother. You just refuse to see it," he retorted, his voice steady as he challenged my denial. His persistent insistence grated on me like sandpaper against raw skin. I understood the link between us was profound, but I struggled to embrace the idea of love. I cared for her, undoubtedly, but love, that notion seemed much too grand. "How's she doing?" Gabe asked, clearly not letting the conversation drop. "She's pregnant," I replied, my heart clenching involuntarily. His eyes widened in disbelief. "With Ethan's baby? Who else would she be pregnant with?" I snapped, irritation bubbling to the surface. The knowledge had knotted something deep within me. Ethan's name lingered in the air like a bitter poison, each letter cutting through my resolve. I had consistently buried the thought of her infidelity, yet here was undeniable proof that shattered whatever semblance of peace I had managed to acquire. My instincts screamed at me to confront Ethan, to protect what felt rightfully mine. Yet I suppressed those dark urges, pushing them deep into a recess of my mind for fear of what they might awaken. "I don't know why it hurts so damn much," I confessed, the words escaping like a wound reopening. "I should be glad she's moving on, but it feels like a piece of me has died." Gabe pulled me back into the present with a question. "So what is she going to do?" "I don't know," I murmured, staring down at the amber liquid in my glass, the swirling depths mirroring my own tumultuous thoughts. I hesitated, debating whether to share the harrowing encounter at the cliff, but it felt wrong to weigh him down with that darkness. Ava had endured too much, and I had no intention of adding her burdens to my brother's shoulders. I made a silent vow to protect her, no matter the cost. At that moment, my bartender approached, handing me a small envelope. He departed as quickly as he had come, leaving curiosity hanging in the air. "What is it?" Gabe leaned forward, interest piqued. "I don't know," I replied, unfolding the note with growing unease. The words leaped out at me, chilling my very core. "I'm not one to go after kids, so you can rest assured that I won't go after your son. I can't say the same for the rest of your loved ones, though. I'm coming for you, Rowan, and everyone you hold dear." The menacing insignia of the Reapers adorned the bottom. In an odd twist of fate, fear was oddly absent. All that reverberated through me was the reassurance that Noah would remain untouched. That was my sole concern now. I couldn't bear to relive the dread I had experienced watching Ava on that cliff. It was time for Noah to come home. He had always been Ava's lifeline, and now, more than ever, she needed him. Chapter 62, Noah's return. Ava. I am engulfed in the chaos of cleaning, a thorough scrubbing of every corner, every surface, an endeavor to distract myself from the whirlwind of thoughts racing through my mind. The reality of my pregnancy hangs heavily over me. When Rowan had turned down the idea of us welcoming another baby into our lives, I felt the hope of giving Noah a sibling slip through my fingers like sand. And now, standing on the edge of a new life forming within me, I find myself floundering, uncertain of how to embrace this unexpected twist. Just then, my phone buzzes, breaking the silence of my solitude. Normally, I would have silenced it, retreating further into my shell, but today feels different. I need connection, even if it's just a lifeline to the world beyond these walls. "Hi, Letty," I murmur as I sink onto the couch. Fatigue seems to weigh me down unbearably. Perhaps, deep inside, I always knew something was amiss. "Oh my God, you picked up. I thought I'd have to scream at you," Letty exclaims, and I can hear the warmth in her voice mixed with sniffles. "It's been weeks, Ava. I've missed you." "I'm sorry." I let out a shaky breath, the weight of my emotions spilling over. "I didn't know how to handle everything, so I pushed you away." Communication has never been my strong suit. Expressing feelings often feels like trying to catch smoke with my bare hands, frustrating and elusive. When stress bears down on me, I tend to retreat, burying my emotions deep inside, convincing myself that denial is a better coping mechanism. Today's confrontation has revealed just how unhealthy that approach truly is. "Are you okay now?" "Not entirely, but I will be," I say, determination creeping back into my voice. I don't have a solid plan carved out, but I know I have to rise from this, a phoenix from the ashes. My mind drifts to dark thoughts, the chilling memory of contemplating not just my own life, but that of my child S. This baby, while shrouded in uncertainty, is just as much a part of me as Noah is. I am resolved to forge ahead to be the mother they deserve. "I'm pregnant," I whisper, my voice barely audible. "What?" Letty shrieks through the phone, her excitement almost palpable. "When did you find out?" "A week ago." Like my first pregnancy with Noah, this little one came as a surprise, but I wouldn't let that deter my love. I had always dreamt of another child, even if resentment brewed between me and their father at the moment. "Oh, darling, congratulations." The warmth in her tone surges back in full force. "You sound happy about the news," I thought. You wouldn't, given who the father is. I am, I respond, though uncertainty lurks beneath the surface. I believe this baby is a blessing, just the light I need to pull me from the heartache that's tried to drown me. She inhales sharply, emotion cracking her voice. You were drowning, Ava, we all saw it. This baby is meant to pull you out of the darkness. Her words resonate within me. It's true, it's Noah and this new life that inspire my will to confront my demons and seek help. Thank you for not giving up on me, Letty, I confess, feeling tears prick at the corners of my eyes. Even when I tried to push you away, you were always there. You're my best friend, Ava. More than that, you're the sister I never had. I'd never abandon you. Our conversation flows like a river, full of ease, as we meander away. From heavy topics, hours slip by, and when we finally say goodbye, I feel lighter. I hadn't realized just how lonely I'd been in those past weeks, but for the first time in a long while, I can see a glimmer of hope peeking through the clouds. The cleaning comes to an end, but with it comes exhaustion. I let myself collapse onto the sofa, relief washing over me. Just then, the familiar sound of my front door creaking open jolts me from my thoughts. Who dares to waltz into my home unannounced? My question is answered when I hear a cheerful voice ring through the air. Mommy, Mommy, I'm home. My heart leaps, a smile breaking across my face as I spring up, rushing into the hallway. Noah! He bursts into my arms, the contact igniting a warmth within me as a flood of tears spills from my eyes. He fits against me perfectly, my little boy, who I've missed more than words can convey. Mom, he giggles, his laughter a sweet melody against my heart. He doesn't push me away, instead, he leans into the embrace, and in that moment nothing else matters. How are you here right now? I ask, holding him close, our bodies crumpling onto the floor in an embrace that feels right. Dad came for me, he beams. He said you needed me. It was a surprise, Mom. That's why I didn't tell you when I called yesterday. It is only then that I notice Rowan standing just inside the door, his presence like a sudden thunderstorm in the clear blue sky of my joy. Our eyes lock, and I can sense an unfamiliar emotion flickering in his gaze, one that I can't quite decipher. Hi, I offer softly, the simplicity of the greeting suddenly heavy with unspoken words. Rowan has been a constant in my life lately, dropping by to check in, offering support in a manner that continues to confound me. This version of him, thoughtful and kind, is not one I recognize. Hey, Ava, how are you today? He asks, a gentle smile peeking through. I'm good, I reply, a shrug carrying the weight of my cautious optimism. Steps forward, however small, are still steps in the right direction. Noah tugs at my sleeve, his wide eyes sparkling with curiosity. Is it true you're having a baby? I shoot a glare at Rowan, who scratches the back of his head sheepishly, suddenly all too aware of my hesitation. Yes, I tell him, though dread coils in my stomach. I've never heard him express wanting a sibling, and uncertainty makes my heart race. The smile that spreads across Noah's face brightens the room, his excitement lifting the panic from my chest as he clenches his little fists. Oh man, this is so cool, he cheers, the innocence of childhood illuminating the heaviness of my heart. Can you make the baby be a girl? I always wanted a baby sister. A wave of relief washes over me. If Noah can accept this new life, perhaps I can too. It doesn't quite work like that, baby, I explain gently. It's a 50-50 chance it could be a boy. No, it's a girl, Mommy, he insists, determination etched on his young face. I'm getting a baby sister because that's what I want, and I always get what I want. In that moment, he so closely resembles Rowan that it feels uncanny, and I'm taken aback by the realization. Noah, I start, unsure of how to manage his expectations. He is about to protest when Rowan interjects gently, Buddy, could you give your mom and me a moment to talk? The unspoken understanding passes between us, and Noah nods, heading upstairs, excitement emanating from his every step. How did you know I needed him? I ask, standing now where he had positioned himself. Rowan shrugs, a hint of vulnerability in his demeanor. Call it instincts. I can't really explain it. I appreciate you bringing him back, but isn't it unsafe? The Reapers still lurk out there, even if we haven't heard from them. The doubt is heavy in my throat, a knot of concern tightening as I remember the shadow they cast over our lives. He exhales, a deep sigh laden with promise. Don't worry about that. They won't harm Noah. I can't guarantee the same for everyone else, but Noah, he's not a target, and for me that's what matters. I nod, focusing only on that assurance. Noah's safety is my priority, far above all else. Thank you for everything, Rowan, I say genuinely, gratitude swelling in my chest. He has been a rock over the past few days when I thought I might crumble. Anything for you, Ava. The words sit oddly between us, striking a discordant note in my heart. Before I can dwell on the transformation of this once antagonistic man, the rapid patter of footsteps announces Noah's return. "Mom, my room is incredible. It looks even better than in the video," he shouts, the sheer joy in his voice a bright spark to my clouded thoughts. I can't afford to question why things have shifted between Rowan and me. I push those thoughts aside, knowing I have more pressing matters to contend with, like how I would face Ethan tomorrow, an encounter looming larger than life. This evening may mark a change, but unseen challenges still await, each one ready to stir the pot of uncertainty once more. Chapter 63. I love her. Ethan. The moment I set my plan into motion, I never imagined I would end up falling for her. It was the cruelest twist of fate, a turn of events I never saw coming. I had thought it would be simple, a calculated move to eliminate her, and then I would finally have everything I ever desired. But as fate would have it, this endeavor turned out to be the most difficult thing I have ever faced. Ava isn't someone you can just push aside or forget. She's the kind of woman who captures your heart, igniting a desire to rise above your own flaws and fears. I vividly remember the moment I realized I was falling for her. I tried desperately to avert this path, but it was as futile as trying to evade an oncoming train, inevitable and horrifyingly powerful. When I understood that I had indeed fallen for her, I tried to rectify the chaos I had caused, but the damage was already irreparable. The truth loomed over me, a heavy cloud waiting to rain down on both our lives. Instead of letting her go, I clung to her tightly, knowing my time with her was limited. The pain I caused her will haunt me forever. As her heart shattered, so too did mine piece by piece. I extinguished a future brimming with potential because of my own avarice, and I could hardly bear the thought that she might never forgive me. "Ethan, you have a visitor," a guard called out, interrupting the whirlwind of my thoughts. I had chosen to avoid seeing my parents each time they dropped by. The shame was suffocating. They took me in, gave me their love, and I repaid them by betraying their trust in the most heinous way, attempting to take their biological daughter's life. How can they still wish to see me? If I were in their shoes, there's no way I could be so forgiving. "Ethan," the guard shouted again, pulling me from my reverie. I turned, meeting his gaze with a hardened expression. For a fleeting moment, I contemplated telling him to convey my desire to remain unseen, but something inexplicable held me back, stifling the words destined for my tongue. I simply nodded. He gestured to my wrists, and I extended my hands, feeling the cold metal clasp around them before he guided me out of my cell. Being the new kid in this place, I was treated with a respect that was unexpected, presumably because I had a reputation as a dangerous man. As I stepped out, my breath caught in my throat. In the far corner, seated with an air of quiet determination, was the last person I ever expected to see, Ava. Slowly, I approached her, still in disbelief that she was really here, drifting like a ghost through the haze of my despair. "Ava," I croaked, collapsing into the chair opposite her. My heart raced as I took in every detail of her face, acutely aware that this could very well be our final encounter. She was likely here seeking closure, the usual step before moving on. Twisting her hands anxiously, she kept her gaze lowered, as though the weight of looking at me was unbearable. Just seeing her, there stirred a tidal wave of loss within me, a stark reminder of everything I would never have. No tender moments shared, no future envisioned together, no memories of watching her blossom into motherhood. It felt as if each beat of my heart echoed the pain of my mistakes. What I had done was unforgivable, and the only woman I ever truly loved was now beyond my reach. "I debated whether I should come, whether you'd even care," she started hesitantly, her voice small and unsure. Each word sliced through me like a serrated knife. Her uncertainty revealed the depth of my betrayal, how profoundly I had broken her spirit. All the progress she had strived to make was now crumbled into dust because of my treachery. "What is it, Ava?" My voice softened, almost pleading, as I fought the urge to reach out to her. I wanted to pull her into my arms, to feel the warmth of her skin, but the memory of what I had done held me captive. Drawing a deep breath, she managed. I. The sentence faltered, and worry clawed at my insides. What could it be? Why was she struggling to voice her thoughts? "Ava." "I'm pregnant," she whispered, her eyes trained firmly on the table. Time froze as those words echoed in my mind. A wave of disbelief flooded over me. She couldn't be serious. "What?" I breathed, my heart racing as confusion morphed into shock. "I'm pregnant," she reiterated, her voice steadier this time. "I found out a week ago. I'm about 3 months along." The reality hit me like a freight train. Ava and I had created life together, a beautiful, precious life. I recalled how her body felt against mine, the ecstasy of our intimate moments together. And just as quickly, a dread settled like a stone in my gut. "You're here to tell me you don't want the baby and plan to get an abortion, right?" The words tumbled out, each syllable locking every joint in my body tighter. She looked up sharply, rage igniting in her brown eyes, the fierce fire that had drawn me to her before. In that moment, I glimpsed the fierce woman who had started to emerge before I shattered her. "Why would you think that?" she retorted, her voice rising. "When I first found out, my mind was a mess, and I thought it might be best if the baby wasn't born. But once I collected myself, reality struck. A breath of relief washed over me. I could hardly fathom what I would have done had she chosen otherwise. I need to know how. You feel about it. I understand you might not care about me, but the baby..." Her words trailed off, a mix of hope and uncertainty hanging in the air. As I took a moment to contemplate, the truth weighed heavy on my chest. "No," I finally admitted, my heart aching at the admission. "It's for the best. The baby deserves better than a monster for a father." Her silence chilled the space between us, and I could feel a wave of despair crash against the walls of my heart. I was prepared for her to walk away, but instead she stood abruptly, retrieving her bag, anger radiating from her like heat. But just as quickly, she paused, her brow furrowed as she settled back down. "Why?" she demanded. "Is this because you were just using me? What can I offer our child?" I replied, desperation creeping into my voice. "I'm in prison. By the time I'm out, they'll be grown. I'll miss everything, the milestones. The laughter, the heartbreaks. Who would want a father like me, one capable of such revolting actions against their own mother?" The words hung in the air like a shroud, shrouded in guilt and regret. She remained silent, contemplating my words, and I hoped I had made her see reason. Then came her surprising response. "I know, but you're their father. Whether you're behind bars or not, that fact doesn't change. You can still be part of our lives. I'll make sure you're included. Our child deserves to know their father, and no matter what you think, they will love you for being there." Caught off guard, I stared at her in astonishment. "You would bring the baby here for visits?" "Yes." A shock of admiration surged through me. Ava was remarkable, a beacon of resilience. I couldn't fathom how Rowan had managed to resist falling in love with her during their 9 years together. "Thank you," I whispered, my voice thick with emotion. She nodded, rising to leave. "I need to go, but I'll reach out after my next appointment. For now, here." She handed me a small envelope containing a scan, and it didn't take long for my breath to hitch. "I'm going to be a father." Tears threatened my stoic facade, the first time I found it hard to hold back emotions. "I care about you," I implored before she could turn away. She halted, her head swiveling back to face me. What?" "I couldn't bear myself if you stepped away without knowing," I breathed, vulnerability seeping into my voice. "I love you, Ava. I don't know when or how it happened, but it did. I love you with every ounce of my being." Her breath hitched, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "You have to know that it's too late now," she whispered, heartbreak lacing her words. "I know, I messed everything up, but it doesn't change the feelings I hold for you." I saw a future with you. It was vibrant and full of promise. My feelings for you were blossoming, but you destroyed everything. I stood, my heart shattering at the realization of her feelings, how she had begun to weave plans around my presence. If only I could go back and rewrite the chords of our fate. I stood there, helplessly watching as she wrestled with her heart. The knowledge that I had lost everything would forever plague me. "Will you ever forgive me?" I asked, the question escaping in a defeated tone. "Maybe. In time, but not now." Before I could reconsider, I closed the gap between us, pulling her into an embrace, seizing the moment to kiss her with an urgency that left me breathless. It was a kiss imbued with finality, deeply knowing it would be our last. As I pulled away, an echo of loss enveloped me. Somewhere deep down, I recognized this was the end. I had lost my chance with her, forever. Chapter 64. Anita Ava in the dim light of a secluded booth, I savored a slice of cake, its sweetness enveloping me like a warm embrace. With Noah spending the night at Rowan, tonight I was free, unburdened by the chaotic responsibilities of motherhood. A warm sense of contentment washed over me, urging me to indulge in something truly comforting. This dessert felt like a long-lost friend after days of feeling emotionally starved. My recent visit to prison had been a whirlwind of unexpected revelations. I had braced myself for Ethan to renounce any connection to the baby, fully anticipating a heart-wrenching refusal. Instead, I was met with a declaration of love that left a hollow ache in my heart. How could he not see that there was no turning back? The ghost of his past actions loomed over me like an ominous cloud. The memory of him trying to end my life was an indelible mark on my soul. How could I ever consider a future with him again? Despite everything, I wasn't so cruel as to strip him of his rights as a father. I would never wish to see him face to face again, but a part of me acknowledged that I could arrange for Nora to take our baby to see him. It was a small concession, yet it was the furthest I would go for Ethan. Beyond that, I would not stoop to foolishness. I had resolved to leave men behind, realizing that pursuing love only led to a cycle of heartache and betrayal. I had wanted affection from 2 men, and what I received in return was pain and turmoil. It was time for me to let go of love, to free myself from its elusive grasp. I was coming to terms with the fact that love had never truly had a place for me. My focus now would be on reinventing myself, on being the best mother I could be. As I indulged in another bite of velvety cake, a soft moan of pleasure escaped my lips as the flavors danced across my tongue. Suddenly, a shrill voice shattered my reverie. "Aren't you afraid you'll get fat? I mean, you already are, but I fear you'll get fatter." I jolted, my eyes snapping open to find Anita glaring at me, her malicious intent evident. Behind her, a handful of her coworkers cackled at her words, but their laughter felt like distant echoes. I barely registered their presence. Anita, one of Rowan's financial advisors, had never hidden her disdain for me. I found it perplexing. Perhaps it stemmed from my past marriage to Rowan. Although he despised the very sight of me, surely anyone with an ounce of sense could see that. "I'm talking to you, fat bitch," she screeched when I chose to ignore her, choosing instead to sip my juice leisurely. "Sure, talk all you want. It doesn't mean I have to listen to a single word you say," I retorted, a defiant smirk creeping across my lips. In the past, I would have cringed under her words, desperate for Rowan's approval, allowing his minions to trample over me. I clung to the hope that he was oblivious to their cruelty, but deep down, I knew he was more than aware. "You think you're something now that you're apparently rich?" Anita sneered, venom dripping from her words. "I bet you got your money by spreading your legs." At that, I burst into a laugh that startled them. The level of insecurity in women like Anita always amused me. They seemed to believe that success could only be achieved through such sordid means. Wiping the amusement from my face, I replied, "I'm not you, Anita." "You bitch, how dare you?" She lunged forward, but I rose to meet her gaze with steel in my eyes. I was done allowing these ridiculous bullies to walk all over me. "Take one more step towards me and you'll regret it," I hissed, my stare unyielding. "The Ava you knew would cower. This Ava will bite back, and I swear you won't like the taste." For a moment, her confidence faltered as she glanced back at her posse, realization dawning on her that she had underestimated me. "Are you threatening me?" she challenged, moving closer to intimidate me. I shrugged, my demeanor cool. "Sure, if that's how you want to interpret it. One word from me and Rowan will have your head. We've danced this dance before, Ava. Just a whisper about how you've been rude to me and he'll explode on you." In the past, her words would have sent waves of fear through me. Keeping the peace with Rowan had meant swallowing my pride, letting Anita revel in her perceived power over me. But now, I wore my defiance like armor. I shot her a smile that dripped with mockery. "Go ahead, do it. I honestly couldn't care less. In fact, why don't you take your phone out right now and put him on speaker? I dare you." "You think I won't?" she shot back, her bravado faltering. "I'm counting on you," I answered with a smirk, my heart racing. It seemed like the self-respect I thought had crumbled after Ethan's betrayal was slowly rebuilding itself. I could feel a flicker of strength igniting within me. Never again would I let a man drag me into the depths of despair. "What's going on here?" A commanding voice cut through the tension. I looked up to find Corinne's concerned gaze flicking between us. She wasn't a friend, merely an acquaintance or business partner, her father owning the construction firm I relied on for my Hope House's project. The newly opened restaurant belonged to her, though her family's influence loomed large in everything she did. "This woman here is causing a disturbance. I suggest you kick her out." Anita wasted no time making her case. We were just minding our own business when she started calling me names. I couldn't help but smirk as I crossed my arms, watching her make an absolute fool of herself. Nobody in this room was aware of my connection with Corinne. I relished the impending showdown. Unlike Rowan, Corinne wouldn't be easily misled. "Is that so?" she asked, her voice cool and steady. I had kept my distance from Corinne, believing I was unworthy of her friendship. I never let her get too close, thinking a loser like me wouldn't be worth her time. Anita nodded her head, signaling her friends to back her up, a pack of idiots if I ever saw one. Do you think I'm stupid? Do you think this entire place is devoid of cameras? Corinne asked, her voice lowering in intensity. I saw everything and now you dare lie to me? The moment realization struck Anita, panic flooded her features as she swallowed hard. It's just a misunderstanding, she stammered, grasping for an escape. Get out! Corinne's voice rose, full of authority. Each word sliced through the air with lethal precision. I said get out of my restaurant. I won't have a lowly bitch with no manners trying to humiliate my friend in my own establishment. I was taken aback by her staunch defense of me, momentarily forgetting my grudge against Corinne. Are you going to leave, or do you want my bodyguards to drag you out? Fine, the food here isn't even that good. Anita huffed, her voice dripping with spite. We all knew her words were nothing but a lie. This was one of the finest establishments in the heart of the city. Anita stormed off, and it was only then I noticed the attention we'd attracted. Before she could make her escape, Corinne called back to her. And Anita? What? She snapped, turning around. You're no longer welcome in any of my restaurants. That goes for your friends, too. A wicked smile spread across my face as her mouth fell open in shock. Without another word, she stomped away, leaving her cronies to curse her for getting them banned alongside her. Thank you for that, Corinne. She was starting to really get on my nerves, I said, letting out a sigh of relief. It's okay, no problem, she replied, offering me a faint smile. Just as I opened my mouth to express my gratitude further, my name echoed through the air, sending a chill through my spine. Ava. I froze, recognizing the voice instantly. Turning slowly, I found Rowan's mother standing before me. And beside her, with tears glistening in her eyes, was the woman I had believed to be my mother. The woman who had called me her daughter, yet treated me like I was nothing more than a ghost lingering in her shadow. Chapter 65. Heart to heart, Ava, can we please talk? My mother's voice trembles with desperation, halting my movement as I turn to leave. I fix my gaze on her, puzzled by her request. Was there really more to discuss? Wasn't everything already said and done, the words echoing painfully in the corridors of our shared history? There isn't anything for us to talk about, Mother, I assert firmly, the weight of my conviction solid. In that moment, a realization washes over me, the stark contrast in how I regard my parents. While Emma and Travis lovingly utter Mom and Dad, I remain detached, addressing them as father and mother, clinical, dispassionate, void of warmth. Deep down, I never truly acknowledged them as my parents. Because what kind of parents hate their children? What kind of parents neglect and mistreat those they've brought into the world? The titles I used were nothing but a shield, a barrier because on a spiritual level, I couldn't accept them as my own. Please, I beg you, she implores, tears welling in her eyes like fragile raindrops, threatening to spill over. It feels surreal to witness this emotional fragility in her. The softness and flush of her face are alien to me. I've always known her as a woman cast in an unfaltering frown, her gaze cold and indifferent, a targeted disdain that made me feel as if I were an imposter in my own life. How about you show me to our table while they talk? Martha, Rowan's mother, interjects, cutting through the tension like a knife through velvet. Corinne's expression reflects uncertainty. She hesitates, torn between her loyalty to me and the expectations placed upon her by her family, who have never concealed their contempt for my existence, despite my supposed role as their daughter. But Martha takes matters into her own hands, linking her arm with Corinne's and leading her away, leaving only silence behind. I exhale a heavy sigh as I sink into my seat, confronting the impending confrontation. Let's get this over with. You won't leave me alone until you've had your say, so go on, speak your piece. Before I change my mind, I say, my tone icy and unyielding. Once upon a time, in the innocent years of my youth, I had treasured this woman. In my memories, she was a beacon of love when I was around 5 or 6. But that glow faded fast, replaced by the realization that her heart held no warmth for me. Instead of nurturing me, she treated me like a burden, an obstacle in her life that required pushing away. Hesitantly, she takes her seat and reaches for my hands. I recoil instinctively, pulling away from her touch. I don't want her near me. A part of me had endlessly longed for moments like this, yet now, as I linger in the dismal present, there is nothing but emptiness coursing through me. I'm sorry, Ava, more than you'll ever know, she whispers, her voice a fragile wisp caught in the vastness of my indifference. I remain silent, consumed by thoughts that clash like thunder in my mind. I had envisioned this moment countless times, each daydream tinged with hope, her apologizing, enveloping me in her arms, injecting warmth into the chill that had long settled in my heart. Yet in reality, that joy is conspicuously absent. My gaze remains fixed on her, devoid of any sentiment. The way I treated you was wrong. You were just a child, and instead of embracing you, I pushed you away. You loved me, loved us, but we offered you nothing but scorn. More than anything, I wish I could go back in time and change everything, be the mother you truly deserved, she continues, her voice quaking with emotion. Tears cascade down her cheeks, but they fail to stir any compassion within me. If I were still the girl who had once adored her, those tears might have cracked the stern facade I wore. Yet years of suffering, over 25, cannot simply be whisked away by a few delicate drops. It would take divine intervention to efface the scars her negligence carved into my spirit. Let's skip the theatrics, okay? If this is about the threat my mother made regarding your precious company, we can discuss it like adults. No need to sweet me up with empty apologies. Just tell me the real reason you wanted to talk, I respond, my tone flat and devoid of warmth. Surprise flickers across her face, a hurt that barely registers on my emotional scale. After years of her cruelty, this moment seems trivial in comparison to the scars I've borne under her disregard. It hurts that you would think so little of me, that you believe the only reason I'm here is to salvage the company, she states, a hint of sorrow slicing through her words. But I have no one to blame but myself. My actions have robbed you of any trust in me. Looking at her now, it's hard to reconcile the woman seated before me with the one who once roared at me for the slightest misstep, who treated my existence with a dismissiveness I learned to navigate like the rough tides of an unforgiving sea. This exchange is alien. We've never had a heart-to-heart before, and her emotional outpouring makes me feel both unsettled and distant. I truly want your forgiveness. I want to be your mother in every sense. I want to mend what I shattered. I want to reclaim the love I so carelessly threw away. I let out a long, laborious sigh. I don't want to be cruel, but for clarity, you're not my mother. The DNA test I have at home could prove that. Additionally, any hope of a close relationship between us sailed long ago. I'd prefer if you and your children continued pretending I didn't exist. You've done so for nearly 3 decades. It shouldn't be a burden to carry on. Some might label me ungrateful, and perhaps there is a grain of truth in that assessment. Material gifts are all they've offered me. But the emotional desolation that consumed my childhood leaves me wanting for more than trinkets. It craves love, validation, the warmth of belonging. Please don't say that. Don't say it's too late. Her voice rises, soft yet urgent, pulling me back into this fraught present. But it's the truth. You're over 25 years too late. I shoot back, the words heavy with the weight of my sentiments. She wipes her tears, determination etched into her features. I won't give up on you, Ava. You're still my daughter, and I'll do anything to earn back your love. A weary breath escapes my lips as I instinctively massage my temples, the pressure within my mind escalating like a brewing storm. I say nothing as she stands, nor do I raise my gaze. She can live in her delusion for all I care. Nothing will shift the indifference I feel toward her. The love I once held dear has been extinguished, and I can see no path toward rekindling that flame. Before I leave, I wanted to give you this. Your father told me to pass it along before he died, but I never had the chance, she announces coldly, offering one final piece of her soul. I don't respond, choosing instead to remain in my cocoon of silence. She sighs, resignation seeping into her voice as she sets something down on the table before me. Once she walks away, I finally dare to look at what she left behind, my pulse quickening as I absorb the sight of an unassuming piece of paper, smeared with bloody fingerprints. It takes a long 5 minutes for realization to strike, a jolt that cascades through me like a wildfire. This is the very document I had seen my father handing over to her mere moments before he was wheeled away for surgery. Chapter 66. His letter asterisk. I found myself locked in a silent standoff with an ordinary piece of paper resting on my table. Home again after an hour spent in turmoil, every heartbeat pounded with the weight of indecision. Should I dare open it, or would I be better off tearing it into tiny pieces? That letter had smoldered in my purse like an unwelcome secret during the drive back, a constant reminder of the storm brewing inside me. Here I was, still immobilized, my gaze glued to its unassuming surface. Curiosity tugged insistently at one corner of my mind, while another part of me firmly dismissed its significance. This letter was penned by a man who had once loathed me. What could I possibly glean from his words? As I lifted the letter, fingers trembling, the impulse to tear it apart was abruptly curbed by a whisper echoing in my thoughts. Just read the damn thing. What's the worst that could happen? This inner voice urged. I cringed inwardly, recognizing the folly in those words. Famous last words indeed. The worst that could happen? It could shred what remained of my already fragile heart. Words were insidious weapons, capable of inflicting wounds far deeper than any blade. I still bore the scars of the venomous remarks my so-called parents had hurled at me over the years. Those echoes lingered, raw and unhealed. Just open it, the voice screamed, a desperate plea that teetered on the edge of hysteria. With a practiced determination, I resolved to silence my doubts and unfolded the letter. Dear Ava, if you're reading this, it means I didn't survive the surgery. To be honest, I've lost all hope. The doctors are scrambling to save me, but I'm a lost cause. I can already feel your grandparents beckoning me to their side. Whether it's a dying man's fantasy or not, I sense I may have earned a particularly dark corner in hell for the way I treated you. You were such a sweet girl when Winnie entrusted you with us, but we completely shattered that light within you. I will carry that regret with me to my end. I still remember the joyous days when Winnie was with us. We played games together, you and Emma, and your innocence was a treasure. How did things spiral so far? I halted, reeling. Confusion clouded my thoughts. If he cherished those memories, what had morphed him into the monster I knew? Gazing back down at the letter, I pressed on. I don't know what happened. I don't understand why I became a monster to you. After Winnie died and charged us with looking after you, something within me twisted. I won't excuse my actions. Nothing could justify the hideous way we treated you. It was sickening. I know I am facing retribution for what I did, and karma does indeed wield the sharpest blade. Before I slip away, I need you to hear my apology. For every terrible thing I did. I know this words can never atone for the pain I caused, but this is all I can offer. I'm so very sorry for my foolishness, sorry for being the worst father imaginable, sorry for being the villain in your once beautiful fairy tale. I won't ask for your forgiveness, I've long forfeited that right. It's my fate to burn for eternity in the depths of my own hell. But I hope you'll be there for your mother. She will need you by her side. Deep down, she possesses a good heart, and once she grapples with her own failings toward you, it will shatter her completely. Always remember, I love you. I may not have shown it in ways that mattered, but those feelings existed all the same. Goodbye, my sweet girl. With a swift motion, I folded the letter and shoved it back into my bag, a surge of anger rising up from my core. Why did this letter strike a deeper chord within me than my mother's tears? Perhaps it was the realization that these were the last words he had penned, possibly while grappling with the precipice of death. Suddenly restless, I stormed toward my bedroom, fiercely pushing aside any encroaching thoughts. I was at my breaking point, and the last thing I needed was to slip back into the shadows that had nearly claimed me before. I collapsed onto my bed, determined to keep the flood of tears at bay. I had shed enough for people who didn't deserve a single drop from me. Fatigue, both physical and emotional, crawled over me. Before long, I succumbed to a dreamless slumber. When I awoke, the clock blinked 11 o'clock like a flashing alarm. Panic surged through me. I needed to pick Noah up by 9. With Rowan out for a business meeting, I'd lost track of time entirely. Climbing out of bed, I stumbled as I hastily prepared for the day ahead, showering and dressing in a whirlwind of frantic energy. I flew down the stairs, praying to avoid a disastrous fall. My heart skipped as I entered the kitchen to find Rowan and Noah sharing a breakfast that looked like something from a dream. Clad in a suit, Rowan flipped pancakes, a domesticity I had never witnessed before. "Mommy, you're finally awake," Noah exclaimed, his mouth stuffed with food. "I wanted to wake you, but Dad said to let you sleep. What on earth is going on here?" I asked, confusion knitting my brow. "I'm making breakfast. Sit down and eat something before I head out," Rowan replied nonchalantly, expertly flipping another pancake. "Aren't you late for your meeting? You should have woken me." "Forget the meeting," he shot back, a hint of annoyance coloring his tone. "You looked like you needed the sleep, so I let you be." His casual dismissal left me bewildered. This was a new side of him, tender and surprisingly caring. a side I didn't want to acknowledge because it threatened to unravel the progress I had made in distancing myself from the hurt he had inflicted. Completely in shock, I mechanically placed eggs and toast onto my plate, unsure of what to make of his behavior. "When's your next doctor's appointment?" he asked abruptly, pulling me out of my thoughts. I looked up, scrutinizing him, weighing his intentions. "Next Friday." "Why?" Suspicion flickered within me. "Just curious," he murmured, turning off the stove. "I have to go." He checked his watch, then paused, looking at both of us, Noah, cheerfully oblivious, and me, teetering on the edge of confusion. He leaned down and kissed Noah's cheek before turning to me, indecision flickering in his eyes. I held my breath, silently pleading for him to walk away. I couldn't bear his presence right now. The air around us felt heavy, making it hard to breathe. "I'll see you two when I get back," he said, and a wave of relief washed over me as he stepped back, returning to his customary coldness. "Okay, Dad, don't forget to bring me something," Noah chimed, while I simply nodded, keeping my mouth shut. Rowan's gaze lingered on me as if he was fighting with himself to say something more. I felt the old Rowan slide back into place, the distant, detached figure I was accustomed to. Without another word, he exited the house, leaving me staring at the spot where he had stood, grappling with a whirlwind of emotions. Why was he acting as if he cared? Frustrated, I scoffed softly under my breath, shoving a piece of pancake into my mouth. The truth was, Rowan didn't care about me. This was just a show, a performance for Noah's sake. We were all just pretending, as we had always done. Nothing more, right? Chapter 67. New grandparents. As I turned the key in the lock and stepped outside, Noah tugged at my hand with curious eyes. "Mommy, where are we going?" His voice was filled with innocent anticipation. This spontaneous trip hadn't been part of my plan, but deep down, I knew it was necessary. For days now, I'd been getting calls from Nora and Theo, inviting me into their lives, hopeful for a connection. Yet I had unceremoniously kept them at arm's length, guarded against the vulnerability of letting them in. Today, though, I resolved to take a step forward. How could I ever truly know if they cared for me if I continued to isolate myself? My heart craved good people, a support network to embrace us both. "I want you to meet some people," I replied, squeezing his small hand gently as we walked towards my car. But as we approached, my attention was caught by a moving truck parked a few meters away from our house. "Looks like we're getting new neighbors," I remarked to Noah. "It's been a while since that place has been empty." Rumors had circulated about that house in our quiet neighborhood. Its striking structure was slightly larger than mine, a looming presence among the others. "Man, I hope they have a kid my age," Noah exclaimed, eyes wide in excitement. "Don't get me wrong, Mom. I love this place, but it's full of old people." I couldn't help but chuckle at his sincerity. I chose this community for its serene atmosphere, the vast backyard where Noah could run and play. Little did I know that our surroundings would be overtaken by retirees with their curious gazes. The only other kids lived far down the road. "Well, sweetie," I said, helping him into the car and fastening his seatbelt, "let's keep our fingers crossed." Once I settled behind the wheel and started the engine, a wave of nerves washed over me. It was absurd. We hadn't even left the driveway yet, and already anxiety clawed at my stomach. Years of hurt had left me wary, constantly questioning the motives of anyone eager to get close. Yet I took a deep breath and focused on the road ahead, pushing my worries aside. "So, who are we gonna see?" Noah's eager voice broke the silence, bouncing in his seat, his curiosity palpable. One thing about Noah, he struggled with surprises, much like his father. He thrived on knowledge. The unknown set him on edge. "You'll see," I replied with a secretive smile. "There are a couple of people I've met recently, and they're excited to meet you." His brow furrowed, mirroring his father's signature expression. Noah was a living replica of Rowan, not just in looks but in temperament, too. "Can't you tell me? You know I don't like surprises." His voice rose, tinged with irritation. "I promise this one's a good surprise," I assured him, imagining his joy when he'd learned that 2 extra grandparents were on the way. More affection, more gifts. The possibilities made my heart swell. Despite his eagerness for a sibling, I sensed his delight at being the only grandchild. "Mommy, is Dad going to marry your sister Emma?" Noah's question emerged suddenly, catching me off guard. For a moment, the world around me froze and my breath hitched. "Probably," I mumbled, the admission prickling with old pain yet feeling a bit dulled, like a faded wound. I'd accepted it long ago. Rowan had never belonged to me. His heart had always been with Emma, both literally and figuratively. Their tumultuous love story spanned over a decade, and despite the current shadows cast by her deception, I knew they'd ultimately find their way back to one another. "New," Noah whispered, anguish creeping into his voice. "I don't want that. I don't want a stepmother." His heart-wrenching sadness squeezed my own. I couldn't do anything to change reality, though. Rowan and I had made mistakes from the start, mistakes I would forever carry with me. We shouldn't have. Married, and I would always grapple with regret for not fighting harder against it when he suggested we tie the knot. "We shouldn't have," I murmured, my thoughts lingering on the love we had feigned. "He deserves to be happy. But I want you and Dad together." Noah's voice rose with determination, his little face a mask of resolve. "You were happy together, you loved each other. Why can't you just go back to that?" How could I crush his hopes? Tell him that our happiness had been an illusion, a performance only meant for his benefit, that the truth of our relationship was tainted with unrequited love and obsession? "You're too young to understand right now, but one day, I promise I'll explain everything to you," I began, the weight of my words heavy on my heart. I had to let him down gently, even if it meant breaking his spirit in the process. "There isn't anything left for your father and me. He's never been mine in the truest sense." Silence wrapped around us as we drove, a bittersweet connection hanging in the air. It was blessedly peaceful but heavy with tension. As we approached the upscale neighborhood where my parents resided, I steered toward the electronic gates. Inputting the passcode Theo had given me, the gates swung open, revealing a lush oasis lined with towering trees. "We're almost there," I told Noah, who was now wide-eyed with wonder. "Wow, this is awesome." "It's even more impressive than Grandma and Grandpa's house," Noah exclaimed, referring to Rowan's parents. The excitement in his voice brought a smile to my face. He would soon discover a delightful surprise waiting for him. I parked the car in front of the meticulously manicured garden and turned off the engine. With my heart racing, I took Noah's hand. His eyes sparkled with a mix of curiosity and anticipation as we walked toward the grand entrance. Before I could ring the doorbell, it swung open, revealing a butler with an air of polished elegance. "Welcome, madam and young sir," he said, hands folded neatly behind his back. "If you'll follow me, they are eagerly waiting for your arrival." We trailed behind him, the interior unfolding as beautifully as the exterior, a lavish expanse of light and elegance. Finally, we entered the living room, where I spotted Nora and Theo. Nora leapt from her seat as soon as she saw us, rushing over to envelop me in an enthusiastic hug. She quickly turned to Noah, scooping him into her arms too. Froze momentarily, shock and delight vying for dominance on his face. "Let the boy go, Nora darling, you're probably suffocating him," Theo chuckled, observing from a distance with twinkling eyes. "Sorry about that, Noah," she said, her attention shifting back to us. "I just can't believe you came. I'm so happy you're here." Before I could express my own joy, Noah, ever the straightforward child, interrupted. "Excuse me, Mrs. Who are you?" His gray eyes, sharp as arrows, scrutinized them both. Nora faltered for a moment, but Theo's prideful smile overshadowed her trepidation. "Noah, I want you to meet my parents, your grandparents, Nora and Theo Howell." I watched closely for Noah's reaction, apprehension curling in my stomach, his face scrunched in confusion. "I'm confused. Aren't Ma and Pa your parents?" "No, sweetheart," I reassured him gently. "They adopted me. You know what adoption means, right?" He nodded, recalling the concept. "Yes, it's when a mother and father take in a baby that isn't theirs and raises them." "Exactly," I said, kneeling so we were eye level, wanting to ensure he understood. "But why didn't they want you? Why did they let Ma and Pa adopt you?" His brow furrowed, and he gripped my arms, his little face hardening. "If they didn't want you, then I don't want anything to do with them." My heart swelled with love, a warmth enveloping me at his fierce loyalty. The very idea that he would reject the ones who had abandoned me filled me with gratitude. Nora knelt beside us, compassion radiating from her. "We did want your mom, dear. We thought she had died when she was a baby. We had no idea someone kidnapped her from the hospital and deceived us." Noah listened, absorbing her words cautiously. He turned to me, seeking confirmation in my eyes. I nodded slowly, and to my relief the frown dissolved from his face. "What about Ma? Won't she be sad losing you? And can I still see her?" he questioned, concern washing over him. "I will never get in the way of your relationship with her, Noah. I promise you that," I replied earnestly. "Your Ma will always be your Ma. Nothing can change that. Just think about it, you're a very lucky boy. 5 grandparents, that's like hitting the jackpot." Theo knelt beside us, sincerity glowing in his gaze. "We want to be part of your lives if your mom allows us. That's all we ask." Silence enveloped Noah as he contemplated this new reality. And Then the corners of his mouth lifted into a smile, acceptance dawning in his eyes. I felt a wave of relief wash over me. He had given his silent approval. "I think I would like that. We'd love to have you in our lives," I nodded, and as I said it, I could feel hope blossoming within me. Tears shimmered in their eyes as they embraced us, their warmth flooding me with an unexpected sense of belonging. The four of us stood there in a tangled embrace of newfound connections, love wrapping around us like a soft blanket. At that moment, the pieces of my fractured family began to fit together, and while I wished for a brighter future, I couldn't shake the instinctive knowledge that life had its own unpredictable rhythm. For now, though, I allowed myself to bask in the happiness of this moment, still wary of the potential challenges yet to come. Life's roller coaster was far from over, and I was bracing for the ride ahead. Chapter 68, uncharacteristic behavior. My foot tapped anxiously against the cold clinic floor, each rhythmic thud echoing my nervous energy as I sat in the sterile waiting room. The anticipation weighed heavily upon me, a storm of emotions swirling within my chest. Today was a day I had dreaded yet could no longer avoid, my pregnancy appointment. To say I was nervous would be a grave understatement. I was engulfed in a tidal wave of inner turmoil. It felt hauntingly familiar, a déjà vu spiraling me back to my second pregnancy, where I sat alone, mourning the absence of support. With Rowan, Ethan had merely chosen not to come. But now, here I was, left to navigate this heart-wrenching journey by myself once more. In the days leading up to this appointment, I had fought to suppress the reality of my growing waistline. My body had begun to betray me, revealing the undeniable. Signs of life burgeoning beneath the surface. Soon enough, everyone would see. Soon enough, it would be no secret that I was expecting. A heavy sigh escaped my lips, and I made a mental note to share this news with my parents. It was a task I dreaded, especially considering the tangled web of relationships that bound us. Ethan was still their son, my adopted brother, and the thought of informing them that I carried his child felt bizarre and overwhelmingly uncomfortable. The situation was twisted, warped, and there was no escaping it. This baby was a reality I couldn't wish away. "Ava," a low voice resonated through my chaos, pulling me back to the present moment. I turned sharply, a jolt of surprise shooting through me as I laid eyes on Rowan. He stood there, looking as disarmingly handsome as ever, yet there was a calmness to his demeanor that I couldn't quite trust. His gray eyes locked onto mine, a gaze that felt both comforting and unnerving. "What are you doing here?" I asked, blinking rapidly, half wondering if I was imagining him. "I'm here to support you," he replied, a smile breaking across his face, an expression I had rarely seen directed at me. "I didn't want you to be alone." A surge of confusion coursed through me. This was far from the stony, indifferent man I had known. What had happened to him? Why did this feel like an elaborate ruse? I moved closer and lifted a hand to his forehead, checking for a fever. Perhaps this unexpected kindness was a result of him being unwell. "What are you doing?" He frowned, eyebrows knitting together in surprise. "Just checking to see if you're sick," I replied, puzzled by the change in his behavior. He didn't feel hot, so why was he here, acting so out of character? Before I could delve deeper into my thoughts, my name echoed through the waiting room. Rowan grasped my hand, gently urging me to my feet, and I felt his steady presence as he guided me toward the examination room. I couldn't tear my eyes from the strength of his back, still in disbelief that he stood beside me. Inside the sterile room, Dr. Raven smiled warmly, her enthusiasm a stark contrast to my nervous energy. "Good to see you, Ava. Are you ready to see how your little munchkin is doing?" I could only nod, still seemingly entranced. "I'm assuming he's the father?" she inquired, casting a quick glance at Rowan. "No, he's just here for support," I rushed to clarify, intercepting Rowan's attempt to speak. I noticed the slight frown on his face and how his grip tightened around my hand. What was troubling him? "Okay then, doctor." Raven replied, stretching out the words as she observed the tension. "You know the drill, get on the bed and pull your top up." With Rowan helping me, I complied, trying to shake the awkwardness of him observing my exposed belly. It felt surreal, given how long it had been since he last saw me this vulnerable. Dr. Raven squeezed the cold gel on my stomach and began moving the wand. She murmured, her gaze fixated on the screen. "Is something wrong?" Rowan's voice piped up before I could respond. "Everything is fine. The heartbeat is strong and the baby is growing as expected," she assured us, briefly turning her attention to me. "Do you want to know the gender?" "No," I blurted out, just as Rowan said, "Yes." Since you're not the father, I'll need to respect Ava's decision unless she changes her mind, Dr. Raven remarked, a playful glint in her eye. I shook my head vehemently. No, I want it to be a surprise, just like with Noah. My lips are sealed then, Dr. Raven announced, switching off the machine while rising to print out the pictures. Do you want a set of 2? Yes, please, I replied, remembering my promise to update Ethan. With tissues in hand, I wiped off the gel from my belly and pulled down my top. When I glanced up, I found Rowan still staring at the blank screen, lost in thought. Rowan. I prodded, snapping him out of his trance. He blinked and stood up. We walked back through the clinic, collecting my documents and scheduling my next appointment. As the cool air of the outside world hit us, Rowan caught me by surprise with his next words. I want to take you out for lunch, he said, sincerity woven into his tone. I regarded him with suspicion. Why? I want us to talk. I scanned the streets for a taxi, my heart racing at the prospect of being alone with him. I don't think that's a good idea. We have nothing to discuss. Rowan ran a hand through his dark hair, a flicker of frustration crossing his features. Ava, his tone hardened. I won't take no for an answer. You either get in by yourself or I'll carry you in. You wouldn't dare, I challenged, my pulse quickening. Try me, he countered, his voice even. As he advanced toward me, my feet instinctively turned, just knowing he would follow through on his threat. I huffed, turning toward his car, and he unlocked the door with a soft click. I slid into the passenger seat, glaring at him as he slid in next to me and started the engine. The silence between us crackled with unanswered questions and unresolved tension. I was angry and bewildered, grappling with the enormity of his sudden change in demeanor. This wasn't the Rowan I had come to know. He was a new puzzle I couldn't comprehend. Arriving at an unfamiliar restaurant, he led the way, his strides long and purposeful. We were shown to a table, and the moment the waiter left, I turned to him. What's going on with you, Rowan? My voice cut through the air, steady yet laced with confusion. Your recent behavior has been incredibly puzzling. For heaven's sake, you showed up to my appointment for a child that isn't even yours when you never came to any of my appointments when I was pregnant with Noah. He hardened, solitude etching its shadows across his face, reminiscent of the man I once knew, cold, distant, and closed off. You never wanted me near before, but now you're everywhere. Don't get me wrong, I'm grateful you pulled me back during my hardest times, but can we please go back to how things were? Treat me like I don't exist again, I pleaded, my heart aching with longing for the simplicity of my previous, painful distance. I want a life away from you, I whispered. I want to heal in a place that doesn't remind me of the suffering you caused. I just want to be left alone. For a long moment, Rowan was silent, his expression inscrutable. Finally, he muttered, I'm sorry. The whisper of his apology was so low, I thought I had imagined it. My heart raced. Why now? Why apologize when everything has already been said and done? It won't change the past. I treated you so horribly, he confessed, anger lacing his words. You were just trying to navigate a terrible situation, and I left you alone to suffer through it. His regret hung heavy in the air between us. I regret every moment I wasn't there for you, he continued, a deep breath escaping his lips. I know it doesn't fix anything, but I'm sorry for how I handled it all. As the weight of his words settled in, I felt a familiar anger bubbling beneath my skin. It doesn't change anything. You can't expect me to forgive and forget, I countered quietly, unable to meet his gaze anymore. I don't know if I ever can. And so, we sat across from each other, locked in a silent duel of unresolved feelings, where apologies were offered but peace remained elusive. My mind spiraled through the weight of his confession, caught in a whirlwind of emotions. How could I possibly move on from the pain he had inflicted? How could I forgive the scars he had left? Chapter 69. More questions. The air hung heavy between us, charged with unspoken words after his unexpected apology. Lunch turned out to be a strained affair, the atmosphere thick with awkwardness as we sat in silence. Each bite felt more burdensome than the last, my thoughts a chaotic whirlpool centered around his sudden show of remorse. I couldn't help but wonder what he expected from me. Was forgiveness on his agenda? If so, he would find that notion far from reach at the moment. As we finished our meal, silence weighed heavily in the car during the drive home. I could almost see the thoughts swirling in his mind, obscured and indecipherable to me. This new version of Rowan was a puzzle, and a disturbing one at that. I couldn't determine how I was supposed to make sense of him now. Thank you, I finally managed to say as we pulled into the driveway. For being there during the appointment and for lunch. It was no trouble, he replied, attempting a smile that faltered before it reached his eyes. I nodded, ready to step out of the vehicle when he halted me, his hand clasping mine momentarily. I need you to let me know about your appointments from now on. His gaze locked onto mine with an intensity that sent a shiver down my spine. I stared back at him, bewildered. Why would I do that? I pulled my hand away, the heat radiating from his grip lingering as if it had burned me. Because I want to be there for you, he said, his tone simple yet weighty. And again I ask why. You weren't there when I was pregnant with Noah. Now you want to attend appointments for a baby that isn't yours? The question burst from my lips, a mixture of frustration and disbelief spilling forth. Don't you see how that looks? His demeanor was confusing, a stark contrast to the man I once knew. I felt my resolve crumbling. I didn't want to engage with this unpredictability. I didn't want to provoke Emma's ire, which would surely follow if she found out about his presence in my life. I just want to be there, he insisted, his voice steady, though I could feel the tempest brewing beneath it. As a matter of fact, yes, it is hard for me to believe. Let's be honest here, Rowan, your history with me is hardly one of concern. I let out a long sigh. That's an understatement. You downright hated me. So this sudden wave of compassion is nothing short of unbelievable. Silence fell between us, thick and suffocating, as he continued to gaze at me with an unrelenting focus. I fidgeted under his stare, feeling increasingly unsettled. Just let me know about your appointments. One way or another, I'll find out and I'll show up like I did today, he finally stated, determination etching itself into his features. Have you given any thought to how this will affect your relationship with Emma? I countered, pushing back. Emma was my best defense against his unreasonable new affection. Emma doesn't matter right now, he growled, his eyes chilling to a frosty glare. Stunned, I blinked at him, my mouth agape. I never imagined I would hear him dismiss Emma with such intensity, nor did I anticipate my heart racing unexpectedly at his words. What on earth has gotten into you? I demanded, bewildered. How can you say she doesn't matter when you've devoted your life to loving her? His jaw clenched, nostrils flaring at the mention of his long-standing affections for Emma. Drop it, he snapped, a dangerous edge to his tone. I sensed that Emma remained a raw nerve for him, but it didn't deter my thinking. I understood that sooner or later they would reconcile. Emma was nothing if not tenacious, and Rowan had always struggled to resist her allure. Deciding I had said enough, I flung the car door open and stepped out, moving briskly toward my house. Remember what I said, Ava, he called out as I turned to walk away. I will be at all your appointments, whether you tell me the dates or not. With that, he revved the engine and drove off, leaving me staring in disbelief at the place where he had just been. Frustration bubbled within me. Why couldn't he just retreat back into the shadows where he belonged? As I approached my front door, a curious sight caught my eye, a man tending to the grass in the yard next door. He turned at that very moment, as if sensing my focus on him, and our eyes connected. My breath hitched slightly. He was undeniably attractive, yet what pulled me in was a sense of familiarity I couldn't quite place. Shaking free of those errant thoughts, I offered him a small smile before stepping inside. Mommy, you're home. Noah's voice burst forth as I crossed the threshold. I had arranged for his nanny to pick him up from school that day since my appointment fell during school hours. She typically didn't live in, only coming over when I had errands or appointments. Yes, how was school today? I asked, setting my bag down. Fun, I aced every question on my math test, he exclaimed, his smile bright and proud. That's amazing, my baby boy is a math genius, I teased, watching as his cheeks flushed crimson. Mom. He whined, stretching out the word. In embarrassment. Please stop. What? It's true, I'm so proud of you. His mischievous smile returned and I could tell he was plotting something. Can I play video games then, since I'm a math genius? I knew I'd been played. Fine, but only for an hour, I relented, unable to resist his charm. He bolted up the stairs, jubilant shouts of thank you echoing behind him, which brought a smile to my face. Hey, Maria, I called out to our nanny as I entered the kitchen. You're free to leave. Are you sure? She asked, a hint of uncertainty creeping into her voice. Yes, really. Now go enjoy the rest of your day, I insisted, waving her off. She left with a smile, and within 15 minutes, silence enveloped my home. At that moment, with Noah occupied, I was left alone with my thoughts. A sense of isolation crept in, the quiet threatening to drown me as I contemplated starting dinner early when the door swung open. Yoo-hoo! Ava, where are you? Letty's cheerful voice sliced through the stillness, instantly brightening my mood. In the kitchen, I shouted back. Moments later, she breezed in with a familiar face trailing behind her, Corinne. Look who I found. We arrived simultaneously, Letty said, plopping onto a bar stool at the island. I had shared with Letty how Corinne stood up for me against Anita, and it seemed she had taken a liking to her instantly, believing anyone who defended me deserved a chance. "What brings you here, Corinne?" I asked, curiosity piquing. "Well," she began, "you gave me a glimpse of warmth at the restaurant, so I thought, why not? I've wanted to be your friend for a long time." Skepticism bubbled within me, urging me to turn her away, but I pushed it aside. Now was not the time to close myself off. "Well, welcome to my humble abode," I said, the sincerity of my smile spreading to her. "I came here for a completely different reason, though. Have you seen the latest gossip column? It was posted like an hour ago." Letty's expression shifted as she produced her phone, handing it to me. "No, why?" I asked, my brow creasing in curiosity. She watched as I read the caption, my heart plummeting with each word. Billionaire Rowan Wood seen on a lunch date with ex-wife Ava Sharp, months after their divorce and weeks after rumors of him dating her elder sister, Emma Sharp. Beneath the text was a candid photo of Rowan, his hand gently resting on my lower back as he led me into the restaurant. "Shit," I cursed under my breath, dread filling me. "This is going to cause unnecessary drama." Emma would surely blow a gasket at this. I wasn't fearing her, but I desperately wanted to avoid conflict. The image suggested a level of intimacy that simply didn't exist, and anyone who gazed upon it would misconstrue what was real. "Is there something going on that I'm not aware of?" Letty queried, her eyes darting between Corinne and me. Nothing happened. "He just showed up at my appointment out of the blue and asked if we could have lunch," I explained, recapping the strange afternoon, including his bizarre apology. As I finished recounting the events, I felt more confused than ever. Nothing seemed to align, no matter how I analyzed it. "What if he's genuinely remorseful?" Letty posed, her tone thoughtful. That question lingered in my mind, echoing with doubt since his words of regret had been uttered. But I quickly shoved it aside, refusing to admit how much his apology weighed on me. "I don't know," I admitted with a heavy sigh. "Forgiveness needs to be earned, and as of now, he's accomplished nothing but confusion and a slew of unanswered questions. How could I possibly move past everything? For 9 years, he had drilled into my soul that he despised me, and now he was sorry. The sudden reversal of his emotions felt insincere, a facade rather than genuine transformation. It was inconceivable that someone could shift so drastically so quickly. What do you think, Corinne?" Letty turned to her, having remained unusually quiet throughout our exchange. "I think those are the actions of a man who doesn't realize he's in love," Corinne replied, surprising me with her insight. I burst into laughter, although it was tinged with disbelief. "That's rich, Corinne. Rowan doesn't love me. How could he? He had explicitly declared otherwise during that explosive confrontation when he stormed into my home, defending his beloved Emma. Think about it, though," she pressed, undeterred. Letty chimed in, "Corinne might be onto something. Why would he suddenly care when he hasn't in the past? It doesn't add up unless there's been something buried beneath the surface." "Exactly," Corinne nodded enthusiastically. "What if he loved you all along but never realized it? And now that he's lost you, those feelings are bubbling to the surface." I didn't want to entertain their speculations. Instead, I brushed off their inquiries and attempted to steer the conversation to safer topics. The afternoon passed quickly, and soon the three of us were sharing laughter and stories, with Corinne firmly establishing herself within our close circle of friends. Yet, despite the warmth and joy surrounding me, I couldn't shake their words from my mind. The reality remained stark. Rowan's heart had always belonged to Emma Sharp and would likely never change. Restore scroll position, Chapter 71, Making a Promise. "Noah, are you done with your homework?" I call, but I don't get an answer. It was Friday afternoon, and I was dead tired on my feet. I had forgotten when you're pregnant how easily you get tired. Every single thing tired me out. The only thing I'm grateful for is that I never experienced morning sickness, unlike when I was pregnant with Noah. Noah? I call him again. I wonder what the hell he is doing. I usually get an answer immediately, unless something has caught his attention and distracted him. Before I can carry my tired body to go upstairs to check on him, my doorbell rings. I release a heavy sigh. It's not that I didn't want to see anybody, I just wanted to take a break. Maybe have a long bath. I spent the whole day at the Hope Foundation going through tons of documents that needed my attention. My eyes were dry, my mind was burnt out, and my body was aching all over. Dragging myself, I open my door and I am surprised to find Calvin and Gunnar at my doorstep. It's been 2 days since that day in my backyard. When Gunnar didn't show up when Noah got back from school, I assumed that maybe Calvin didn't want anything to do with us. After all, he was really grumpy during our whole encounter. Hi, shock was clearly in my voice, and I couldn't hide it. Hi, Miss Ava, Gunnar tells me sweetly with a smile. These are for you. It's then that I notice he has a bouquet of flowers. Pink roses to be exact. He hands them to me and I take them gratefully. Thank you, Gunnar. These are beautiful. Without thinking, I bend down and kiss his cheeks. When I straighten, he gives me a shy smile. Just like with Noah, I could already tell that Gunnar was a sweet boy. I shift my eyes to his father. Would you like to? Come in. 15 plus 15 bonus. He looks hesitant at first, but when Gunnar pulls his hand, he agrees. I lead them straight to the kitchen where I had been baking cookies and cupcakes. Noah had requested for them, and though I was tired, I couldn't refuse him. You're just in time to eat some goodness, I tell them as the oven timer pings. I look for a vase and place the beautiful flowers Gunnar brought me. Noah, I call again as I place some cookies in front of our guests. I'm coming, Mommy, he shouts back. I hear his bedroom door close, then his footsteps as he runs down the hallway and then the stairs. Seconds later, he breaks through the kitchen door. He comes to a stop when he sees that we have visitors. NCHTH, come, my love. I want you to meet someone. He hesitantly takes a step until he's standing next to me. W. Noah is a bit shy at first glance. That is before you get to know him better. When he sheds his shyness, you won't even believe that he's the same boy. He'll talk your ear off. Noah, this here is Gunnar. He lives next door, and Gunnar, this is my son Noah. He's the one I was telling you about. If I'm being honest, I thought things will be awkward between them at first, but I am wrong. Gunnar smiles. Hi, wanna play in my room? Noah asks at the same time. Sure. With that, Noah grabs a bunch of cookies and hands them to Gunnar. Then he goes to the pantry and get a couple of juice boxes. Come on, I've got a new game to show you, Noah says as they walk off. I was super surprised by his actions. I thought it would take a bit of pushing to get him to warm up to Gunnar. I guess I didn't need to. Well, that went well. I'm surprised Gunnar made the first move. He's usually really reserved. 2-5 face him. I had completely forgotten that he was even there. Plus 15 bonus. Noah is like that too at first. He has to get comfortable with someone first. Really? Then he's much better off. When I say that Gunnar is reserved, I mean he likes his own company. He doesn't like making friends or meeting new people. Even in school, he keeps to himself. Seriously? I ask, shocked. Seriously. At this point, I think Rex and I are his only friends. I frown at that. I wasn't a child psychologist, but I was a teacher. Even I knew that that wasn't typical behavior for a child his age. For a child to be that withdrawn, then there is probably a problem. I know it doesn't lie with Calvin. You just have to take one look at them to know they adore each other. Something else was wrong. If Gunnar is as withdrawn as Cal says, then something made him that way. Hopefully Noah can get him out of his shell. I mumble, handing him a cupcake. I round the island. Taking one of the bar stools, I exhale in relief that I was off my feet. I dig into one of the cupcake, my mind completely empty. I wanted to apologize, Calvin says after a while. For what? Coming off as rude the other day. Waving my hands dismissively, I face him. In your defense, I was being too extra, so don't worry about it. Talking about that day reminds me of the pain I saw in his eyes. Right now, he has done a good job of trying to hide it. Others may assume he's okay, but I can tell he is not. I recognize the struggle in his soul because I usually go through the same thing. It's easy for someone who's been hurt to see the pain others are trying to hide. Especially if it's the 315 plus 15 bonus. So what do you do for a living? He asks, probably trying to make small talk. I'm a teacher. But I'm on leave for the next few months. I had thought about going back, but I decided against it. Even though I was bored being home alone, I knew I needed this time to myself. Not only because of the pregnancy, but also because of my mental state. Oh, so you got together with Rowan? Noah is his doppelganger. It's so uncanny. At that I snort. Everyone in this damn city knows what happened with Rowan. I didn't get with him. It was a drunk night gone wrong. I sometimes curse that night when I think of how my life would have been different if it wasn't for my obsession. Then I remember that if it wasn't for that night, then I wouldn't have Noah. In the end, I'm left wishing it didn't happen, but thankful because I got someone precious from it. What happened? Cal asks curiously. I clump up, feeling myself start to sweat. That's a story for another day. Right now, I don't want to relieve it. I haven't heard from Rowan since the day he showed up at my appointment, which was 3 days ago. I also haven't gotten any surprise visits from Emma demanding I stay away from her man. I think Rowan is probably too busy trying to do damage control with Emma, and for that I am grateful. I didn't want him around me because when he confuses things. His recent behavior is messing with my head, and I'm tired of trying to figure him out. What about you? Where's your wife? He was the same age as Emma, so I assume he's married. I don't have a wife. Okay, where's Gunner's mom? I see pure undulated pain flash in his eyes. The kind of pain that isn't yours, but you still feel it all the way to your soul. My heart aches for him because I know how such pain can be consuming. She's not in the picture, he stammers in a broken voice. A voice filled with pain. And a bit of anger. 415 plus 15 bonus fuck. I feel the need to comfort him, but I am not sure it will be welcomed. I'm so sorry to hear that, I whisper, feeling terrible for asking because I drenched up his pain. I can't imagine losing a spouse. I can't imagine living the life you imagined alone, knowing the love of your life isn't there with you. Oh, Calvin looks like the kind of man who loves deeply. If you love deeply, then the loss is also just as deep. The loss becomes all-consuming. Now I know where his pain originates from. He wasn't hurt by someone. He lost someone he deeply loves, one he breathes out, trying to once again bury his pain. It's okay. She hasn't been in the picture for a while, and I'm slowly learning to live with it, too. I grab his hand and squeeze, giving him the comfort he clearly needs. Changing the subject into something lighter, I ask him if he would help me plant my garden again, since he didn't send anyone to fix what Rex destroyed. After talking to him, I realize why Gunner is withdrawn. Losing a parent at such a young age isn't easy, and some children never recover from it. I didn't know them well, but right there and then I promised myself that I will be there for them. I was going to help them. 15. We all need happiness and joy in our lives, and from the looks of it, Calvin and Gunner haven't had it in a long time. Share to your friends enjoying this site. Support us via PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, or crypto. Your donations help cover site maintenance and hosting costs. Chapter 71 tip. You can use left, right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Tap the middle of the screen to reveal reading options. If you find any errors, non-standard content, adds redirect, broken links, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Report. Restore scroll position. Chapter 72. Dead Love Rowan plus 15 bonus. Today, we were having our monthly get-together. The Woods and the Sharps have made this a tradition since I was about 5 years old. Our families have always been close, mainly because our mothers have been best of friends since they were little girls. It made logical sense that their children would end up being best friends too, and that both families would be close. Dad, why are you driving so slow? You're going to make us miss Grandpa's barbecue steak? Noah complains, his brows pulled together in irritation. If it wasn't for Noah, I wouldn't even have gone. I used to love them. Especially when I knew that Ava wasn't going to be around, when I knew that she wasn't invited. I used to think it was the only place I could escape her. That being in a room where everyone except Noah hated her guts was the best place to be. Now, though, it doesn't fucking feel like that anymore. Instead, I hate myself and the rest for the pain we have put her through. I'm going as fast as I can. I answer him. No, you're not. You're driving slower than a 90-year-old grandma. He huffs in annoyance. Did I just get fried by an 8-year-old boy? I shake my head and chuckle before increasing the speed just a little bit. The moment silence reigns in the car, my mind immediately goes to Ava. She looked fucking radiant when she opened the door for me. To me, she looked like a damn fertility goddess in a white flowing dress, long curled thick hair, her small baby bump, and her beautiful flawless skin. I was shocked by my reaction when I wanted nothing more than to take her in my arms and lock ourselves in her bedroom for hours. 15 plus 15 bonus. This reaction to her is something that has never happened before, and it took me by surprise. I haven't been able to think about anything or anyone except for her. She's stuck on my mind, and nothing I do distracts me from thoughts of her. It fucking scares me how obsessed I am with her. It's not once or twice that I found myself wondering what she's up to, whether she's eaten or not, or whether she's getting enough sleep. I keep wondering if I should hire someone to help her around the house. Those thoughts shake me to my core. I've never been one to take on more when it comes to Ava. Now the need to take care of her is almost consuming, and it's wreaking havoc inside me. Dad, Noah calls. What? We are here. I had not realized that we were already parked outside my parents' house. I don't know how we fucking got here. I was so lost in my mind that I had been driving mindlessly. I know how fucking dangerous that is. Especially when I have Noah in the car with me, but I just can't help myself. Thoughts of Ava keep consuming me. Come on, I'm sure your grandpa has saved some steak for you, I say just so I can push the awkward atmosphere away. 3. Are you okay, Dad? He asks instead of getting out of the car. I didn't like that I was worrying him. I also couldn't tell him my current problem was in the form of his beautiful mother. Yes, I just have a lot on my mind, but it's nothing to worry about. He nods his head and unbuckles his seatbelt. We get out at the same time. Locking the car, we walk towards the house. The door opens before we can get to it. Ma! Noah shouts before running to her. I've missed you, my Noah. She bends down and catches him as his body collides with hers. 5 + 15 bonus. It has always been obvious that Kate and James love Noah despite what happened with Ava. Everyone loves Noah. We just didn't love Ava because of the sin we thought she had committed against me and Emma. Where's your mom? I sent her an invite, she asks, straightening and looking behind us. Oh, she's not coming, Noah informs her. She went to visit Grandma Nora and Grandpa Theo. She was excited. We didn't get to see them last week because they were on a business trip. Noah doesn't seem to notice, but I do. I see the moment Kate's face falls. The moment pain flashes in her eyes. This has to be painful for her, knowing that Ava was building a relationship with her biological parents, and that no matter what she tries, she will never have a close relationship with Ava. She had burned her bridges. Hurt Ava too much for her to forgive and accept her. Ava wanted nothing to do with the Sharps or the Woods. The reason I was even still in her life was because I was Noah's dad, and also because I was being forceful. Otherwise, she would have tossed me in the cold like she has done with the rest. Maybe next time then. Kate gives him a sad smile. She was on the brink of tears, about to lose it. Noah didn't know the drama that was going on. I couldn't let him see his grandma break down in front of him. He will start to question things, and once he finds out the truth of how Ava has been treated, he will blow. Noah was loyal to his mom above anyone else. If he finds out how cruel we've been to Ava, we will instantly be considered his enemies and he will cut us off. Let's go. I'm sure the rest are waiting for us. I walk towards them and gently push them inside the house. Kate excuses herself and goes to the bathroom while Noah and I move to the backyard. I internally groan when I realize everyone has shown up. Noah runs ahead, leaving me back. He greets everyone except Emma. He doesn't even spare her a fucking glance. He doesn't like her and he isn't afraid of showing it. So glad you're finally here, son. My dad claps me on the back. 5 + 15 bonus. Knows it irritates me when he does that, but he still does it. Yes, I mumbled, already wanting this whole thing to be over and done with. You sure sound excited being around family, Gabe says sarcastically. I glare at him. He doesn't even flinch. Maybe it's because he is my twin, but he is the only one who doesn't cower at my glare. Come on, Rowan, give me a hug, Mom says, smiling at me. I've missed you. I wrap one hand around her waist and hug her to me. Missed you too. We separate just as Kate comes back, her eyes red and face blotchy. Noah was already at the table with a plate chatting with Trevor. He had invited Letty, but she declined. She didn't want to be around people who hurt Ava. Her friendship and loyalty to Ava was causing waves in their relationship. Trevor was so fucking afraid of losing her since he was among those that really hurt her friend. The only things that was standing between him and singlehood was the fact that he was remorseful. 5. Can I talk to you, Rowan? Emma's voice penetrates my ears. Fuck. I had not noticed her approaching me. There really isn't anything to talk about, I say, facing her. I have been avoiding her. I was still mad as hell about all the shit she said about Noah. More than that, I just didn't want her around me, not when all I can think about is Ava. I had loved the woman in front of me, cherished her even when I was married to her sister. I was so fucking sure there was no one else for me except Emma. All I had wished was for her to come back. I had sworn that the moment she did and she accepted to give me a chance, I would divorce Ava and make a life with her. She's been back for months, yet I can't find the love I had for her. The love that I had thought was eternal. The love I had sworn no other woman would have. I feel like a fool. 1 minute I'm professing my love for Emma, and the next I don't want her near me. 1 minute I'm sure I hate Ava with all my heart, and the next, I can't stay away from her. For 5, everything about the two-sister was doing my head in. Rowan, + 15 bonus, what? I snap, feeling suffocated. I see tears fill her eyes, but for some reason I just don't give a damn anymore. Not like I used to. Without giving her another look, I turn around and walk away. For a while I played the what-if game. What if I could finally have the woman I've always loved? What if we got married and started a family? What if everything played out the way it was supposed to years ago? Those questions rang in my mind for years and the weeks when Emma arrived. I thought that this was our second chance at our love, but I had been wrong. One Emma and I were too different right now. We would never work, and even if we did get together years ago, there is no guarantee that we would have been endgame. She'll always have a part of my heart as my first love, but it was time to accept the truth. My love for her is dead. It has probably been dead for years. Share to your friends Chapter 72 tip. You can use left, right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Tap the middle of the screen to reveal reading options. If you find any errors, non-standard content, ads redirect, broken links, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Report. Chapter 73. Undiluted jealousy. My mind was a tempest of confusion, swirling with a revelation I had never expected. The love I thought was eternal, the kind that transcends time and hardship, was now a fragile illusion. The realization settled like a stone in my chest, heavy and suffocating. I slid onto the bench next to Noah, a sense of urgency coursing through me. I needed to escape this tumultuous nightmare. My skin felt like it was crawling, the atmosphere thick with unspoken tension. What were you talking about with Emma? Noah's voice sliced through my thoughts, dripping with disdain. It was evident to everyone present that Emma, the woman I envisioned building a future with, was his least favorite person. That disdain gnawed at me, feeding my doubts about pursuing a relationship with Emma. How could I embrace a love that my own son harbored animosity towards? And how could I seriously consider moving forward with her when she clearly didn't hold Noah in high regard? The words Emma had spoken about him echoed in my mind, tinged with resentment. Perhaps because Noah was the son of Ava, or perhaps because he was a constant reminder of my decision to marry her. Maybe it was a conflation of both. Nothing important, I muttered, feeling lost in an ocean of my own turbulent emotions. We lapsed into an uneasy silence, broken only by Noah's excited chatter. Each word was like a nail, driving deeper into my already strained consciousness. I have a best friend now, just like you and Uncle Gabe have Uncle Travis as your best friend, he announced brightly. That's good, I replied, my voice lacking enthusiasm, taken hostage by my sour mood. But Noah, oblivious to my state, continued. His name is Gunnar and he is our new neighbor. They moved in about a week ago. I offered him a distracted nod, my mind elsewhere. Then he dropped the bombshell. You know, he has a really good-looking dad. I turned my gaze sharply toward him, curiosity piqued by the mischievous glint in his eyes. They've been to our house, and when Gunnar and I were playing, Mom and Mr. Calvin were downstairs talking and eating cupcakes. He even promised to help Mommy plant her vegetable garden. What on earth? A whirlpool of shock and anger washed over me. Who the hell was this Calvin? Why was Ava inviting a stranger into her home, especially with the reapers still looming in the shadows? Noah continued, a triumphant smirk spreading across his face as if he hadn't just unleashed a monster inside me. He made her laugh a lot. When Gunnar and I came down for dinner, they were standing really close as he helped her set the table. With every word, my rage intensified, clenching my fists to suppress the urge to unleash fury on my own son. My heart raced, waves of anger crashing over me. I was worried about what would happen to Mom when you married Emma, but now with Calvin around, you can do it. I still don't like her, but you can marry her and Mom can marry Calvin. He makes her laugh and Gunnar will be my brother, so that's a bonus. The final sting pierced my composure. Noah's evil grin announced his next blow. Maybe Gunnar and I can get more siblings. We'll have to talk to them first, but I'm sure they'll agree. That was the moment my pent-up fury erupted. My eyes narrowed, my patience dissipated like smoke in the wind. Noah. I bellowed, slamming my hand down hard on the picnic table. Heads turned our way, confusion etched on the faces of those nearby. This was the first time I had ever raised my voice at my son. What? He asked, feigning innocence, as if he hadn't just ignited a raging inferno within me. Instead of shrinking back, he stood up, shot me a cheeky grin, and sauntered off towards my mother and Kate, leaving me seething. What the hell was that about? Gabe approached, concern in his voice, sliding onto the bench beside me. Moments later, Travis joined us. I was still consumed by fury, unable to shake off the image of Ava, my Ava, laughing joyfully with another man. It was a torment I had never anticipated, tearing me in ways I struggled to comprehend. When Ava was with me, joy was a fleeting visitor at best. Her smiles were often cold and distant. Yeah, what did Noah say to make you so mad? Travis jumped in, glancing between me and Gabe with curiosity. Nothing, just some stuff about their new neighbor cozying up to Ava and making her laugh, I grunted, fists clenched. Travis exchanged a glance with Gabe, then burst into laughter, but I hardly registered it. My mind was in disarray, tangible anger coursing through my veins. The primal urge was rising within me, a desperate need to scream that she was mine. No other man should dare encroach upon her. That instinct shocked me. I had never laid claim to Ava. She had simply been the woman who shattered my world. It's obvious he's trying to make you jealous, Gabe observed, his tone matter of fact. He knows you want Ava back together, and your reaction just proves that you care. I shot a glare at him, wishing to refute his words, but they rang too true for comfort. Deep within, a tumultuous storm of jealousy surged, raw, unrefined jealousy. I craved Ava's smiles, her laughter meant solely for me. I longed for the intimacy of helping her set the table, for the joy of planting her vegetable garden side by side. That thought halted me in my tracks. Here I was, a man who believed he had moved on, now desperate for a moment of normalcy with a woman I had sworn never to let back in. "Do you want Ava back?" Travis asked, his tone suddenly serious. His question caught me off guard, leaving me speechless. What answer could I give? I was engulfed in a storm of confusion, unable to untangle the web of feelings spiraling through me. Why was all this bubbling to the surface now? The bitterness of the past haunted me, yet here I was, grappling with an undeniable desire. With a groan, I rose abruptly, leaving my brothers behind without an answer. I needed air, space to breathe, to sort through the chaos of my emotions. I thought solitude in the house would grant me clarity, but fate had other plans. Emma was alone in the living room when I entered, her expression lighting up at my arrival. "Please, Rowan, talk to me. Tell me how I can fix things," she pleaded, hope shimmering in her eyes. I didn't enjoy causing her pain, yet I knew perpetuating this facade would only deepen the wounds. I owed her the truth, a truth that was becoming painfully clear. Running my hand through my hair, I replied, "You can't fix anything, Emma. I don't want to hurt you, but it's time we acknowledge that our love has run its course." "Are you telling me you don't love me? That you love Ava instead?" Shock and heartbreak etched across her features, her voice trembling. Rather than confronting the reality, I turned and walked away, avoiding the fervent questions in her eyes. As daylight faded into night, the question loomed ominously in the back of my mind. If I wasn't in love with Emma, did that mean I still loved my ex-wife? Chapter 74. Uncharted Desires by Evelyn. Ava the weekend had unfolded like a soft melody, each note subtle but significant. I cherished the quiet moments shared with my parents, Nora and Theo. They were everything I had longed for in a family: warmth, affection, and attentiveness. In stark contrast, my biological parents had been anything but nurturing, particularly when it came to Emma and Travis. Even Rowan and Gabriel always seemed to bask in more affection than I ever received, despite their bold claims of love for me as their daughter. Yet, with every heartbeat of laughter and every exchange of tender glances, I discovered a deeper bond forming with Nora and Theo. It was becoming increasingly clear why Ethan had held them in such high regard. The way his voice would light up when he spoke of them was a testament to their greatness. They were the epitome of parental love, and anyone with sense could see it. "Where on earth is she?" Corinne's voice sliced through my reflection, irritation curling her perfect lips. We were nestled in a quaint cafe, the air thick with the sweet aroma of freshly baked pastry. We awaited Letty, who, as per usual, had decided that punctuality was merely a suggestion. A secretary by profession, she had a notorious disregard for the concept of time. "She'll be here. She's probably just running late." I mumbled around a mouthful of blueberry muffin, the sweet craving of my pregnancy crashing over me like a wave. Muffins and cupcakes were my lifeline, my desires twisted around these sugary delights, while everything else tasted like the inside of a shoe. "We agreed to meet at 2, Corinne huffed, her frustration clear as she shifted back and forth in her seat, the annoyance distorting her typically lovely expression. A teasing laugh escaped my lips as I observed her wrath. "You'll soon learn that Letty thrives on her own clock. The sooner you accept that, the easier life will be for you." Her silent fuming spoke volumes about her personality. Corinne was punctual to the core, the type of woman who despised being even a moment late. As she simmered, I continued to indulge in my muffin, which seemed to bring me some semblance of comfort during this incessant hunger. The contrasting memories flooded back. With Noah, I could barely keep anything down, facing the torment of persistent nausea. When medicine failed, it was a full 6 months before I found any relief. Rowan's abandonment during that time had cut me deeply. There I was, struggling to survive, losing weight, while he drowned in his self-pity over Emma. It stung to think he was too captivated by her to notice the toll my pregnancy was taking on both Noah and me. The hospital visits dished out by my concerned doctor were just a reminder of how little he cared. I pushed those memories aside as I focused again on Corinne, whose foot tapped furiously against the ground. "What's wrong?" I finally asked, sensing her growing impatience. "I had a business proposal for you and Letty," she said, her voice tight with urgency, "but since she's not here yet, I'll just blurt it out because it's driving me insane." "Okay," I prompted, my curiosity piqued. "It's going to sound utterly absurd and not like something women of our status would usually consider." Her words struck a chord within me, sparking intrigue. What could she possibly have in mind that would make her express such reluctance? "Go on," I urged. "I want us to open a sex toy company," she declared with unsettling calm. I nearly choked on the delicious morsel I had been chewing, my brain pausing in disbelief. "Come again?" "A sex toy company," she reiterated. "Think about it. With their skyrocketing popularity, I'd wager that at least 70% of women own one, single or otherwise. Even men are embracing these items to spice things up." My jaw dropped, my astonishment evident. What is Ava shocked? Letty chimed in as she quickly settled into her seat, her eyes darting from me to Corinne, trying to grasp the sudden tension. "I just told Ava that we should consider starting a sex toy company," Corinne answered. Surely I expected her to share my disbelief. Instead, Letty's eyes sparkled with excitement. "That's a fantastic idea. Are both of you out of your minds?" I shot back, incredulity spilling from my lips, but they were too caught up in the newfound prospect to notice. "It's brilliant. Seriously, who doesn't own a little pleasure-inducing gadget?" Corinne pressed, her enthusiasm unfazed by my protests. "I don't," I declared firmly, but their expressions of disbelief were nearly comical. "You don't have one?" Letty gasped, and the shock on her face was almost theatrical. "Nope, and I've never had one," I added, crossing my arms as if that would shield me from their scrutiny. "Well, you are missing out," Corinne chimed, almost scolding me for my ignorance. I considered it briefly. Sure, I had once pondered the idea, but my experiences with Rowan hadn't opened a door for them. For Rowan, the encounter had always felt driven solely by physical release, while I craved something deeper, a connection that we lacked in other corners of our chaotic lives. "I really think we should do this," Letty continued, her voice vibrating with uncontained energy. "Like Corinne mentioned, it's a lucrative business. We just need to figure out how to differentiate ourselves from the competition." "Okay then," Corinne said, her smile widening. "I'll draft a proposal and shoot it over to both of you once it's polished up." "Hold on a second, I didn't agree to anything," I spluttered, but my protests fell on deaf ears as they continued planning. "We need to do extensive market research, and I think Ava should be our secret weapon. Since she's a total newbie to sex toys, she can explore all the top brands and report back on what we can improve," Letty concluded, her eyes twinkling with mischief. Corinne nodded eagerly, her delight shimmering through the air like the setting sun. Meanwhile, I felt the impending dread of becoming their experimental subject approach me like a freight train. "Do I even get a say in this?" I asked, my irritation bubbling over. "Not really. Think of all the money you'll be making," Letty practically sang. "I don't need the money, I'm already loaded." She merely shrugged, brushing my concerns aside. "It doesn't matter. Didn't you mention wanting something new? Challenge yourself. Here's your golden opportunity. It might even inject some excitement back into your life without burning you out." I mulled over her words, weighing the possibilities amidst my initial frustrations. How chaotic could it really turn out? "Fine," I sighed, conceding defeat. The two women erupted into squeals of joy, their exhilaration enveloping me as they crushed me in a tightly knit embrace. The excitement radiating between us was infectious. Even in my exasperation, I felt a flicker of hope. The idea of breathing new life into my days made my heart flutter. "Okay," Letty said, breaking our huddle. "Now that we've officially started this wild venture, I have to ask, who is Calvin?" Her question surprised me. I hadn't uttered a single word about him, and since that day our paths first crossed, he had stayed away. Not like Gunnar, who popped by almost every day. Calvin was nowhere to be found. "He's my new neighbor. How do you know about him?" "Travis mentioned him," she shrugged, a glint of mischief dancing in her eyes. Apparently, at the get-together, Noah made a comment about him. He mentioned that Calvin made you happy and wouldn't mind if you two got married and had more siblings for him and Calvin's son. Seriously? Corinne's eyes widened with disbelief. Yeah, Travis said Rowan nearly lost it when he heard that. Letty grinned, clearly enjoying the saga unfolding. I erupted into a fit of laughter, the absurdity crashing over me like a tidal wave. Noah's attempt to provoke his father next to Rowan's potential jealousy felt like a comedic subplot from a soap opera. You can't be serious, I managed between gasps. It's true, Travis said Rowan was so jealous he almost broke the table. Letty chimed, practically collapsing into her mirth. I couldn't contain the laughter, my stomach alight with the ridiculousness of it all. Rowan, jealous? That would be like claiming the sky was green. No, he wouldn't care even if I were quite literally involved with the whole male population. That was just a joke, right? I managed, shaking my head in disbelief. Not a joke at all. Travis is genuinely questioning Rowan's feelings toward you, Letty insisted. Why would he even feel that way? I asked, incredulously. Because he's starting to see past all the resentment, Ava. It's possible he might have some hidden feelings for you, Corinne pointed out, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. Please. I recalled Travis's earlier warning when Emma returned. He was merely worried I might rock the boat, standing in the way of his sister and her, happily ever after. The only feelings Rowan Woods has ever had for me are rooted in hate, I said firmly. Trust me, what you're saying sounds utterly insane. He spent 9 years cultivating resentment, and now, all of a sudden, he's supposed to have a change of heart. Impossible. It could be possible if those feelings were buried deep inside him all along, Corinne countered, her gaze steady on me. Annoyance flickered through me. No, Letty, just drop this subject. I don't want to hear about Rowan, okay? And even if he miraculously developed feelings, which I doubt, don't you think it's too late now? The table fell silent, Letty's mouth clamped shut while Corinne stared down, deep in thought. The atmosphere grew dense with unspoken tension, and all I really wanted was to vanish back home, leaving the resplendent cafe behind and the weight of their words in the past. Why can't they just let this go? This unwillingness to accept reality is maddening. They truly believe in this nonsense, I thought angrily. But Rowan was history, unwritten and unchangeable. He belonged in the past, a chapter closed off from the pages of my life. Shaking my head, I tried to dismiss all those thoughts that plagued my mind. Now my focus was on my children, our foundation, and the outrageous new business venture we were starting. Rowan would remain where he belonged, in memories, safely tucked away, forever unchanged. Asterisk Chapter 75. I'm sorry, asterisk, a restless energy coursed through me as I observed my lawyer, Rogers, meticulously sifting through the business proposal that Corinne had sent my way. I had to admit, the woman was impressively efficient. It had barely been a day since our discussion, and already, here was a detailed proposal laid out before me. Either she possessed a remarkable work ethic, or she had been quite industrious beforehand, waiting for Letty and me to give the green light. Rogers sat across from me, his brow furrowing slightly as he scanned the pages. He had been more than just my legal counsel. He was my trusted advisor, a guiding hand since I first tasted the sweet success of my first million. I never ventured into any business without his expert opinion. His track record was impeccable. Every venture he had advocated flourished, while those he discouraged quickly withered into failure. His judgment carried a weight I couldn't afford to ignore. After a moment, the tension in my chest grew unbearable, and I finally broke the silence. What do you think? I asked, my voice betraying a hint of anxiety. He glanced up, his eyes flickering with a hint of caution. It's a compelling idea. I can certainly see its potential, he stated, but the pause that followed hinted there was more bubbling beneath the surface. What is it? I pressed, desperate for clarity, my heart racing as anxiety began to tighten its grip around me. Rogers looked at me thoughtfully, as though organizing his thoughts before divulging them. The silence stretched on, amplifying my unease. Spit it out, Rogers, I urged. His expression grew serious. I just feel like this isn't a traditional idea. I'm aware it's unconventional, I replied defensively. He continued, but there's another aspect to consider. He hesitated, searching for the right words. Have you thought about how this will affect the foundation aspect of your life? At that, I frowned. I sensed his concern. Weighed heavily on him. Quickly, he attempted to ease my apprehension. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. It's genuinely innovative and has the potential to evolve into a significant company. However, As the founder of the Hope Foundation, you have an image to uphold. Since your identity has become public, people associate you with the children you help. It's likely that donations would dwindle if they discovered you were involved in a sex toy company. My gaze dropped to the surface of my desk, processing the implications of his words. At the moment, I had transformed one of the extra rooms in my home into a makeshift office, since I would be spending most of my time there until after the baby arrived. I could no longer ignore the reality Rogers was highlighting. I was the face of a children's organization, and diving into that line of business would undeniably clash with the moral expectations surrounding my role. A resigned sigh escaped my lips. Initially, I had resisted the idea passionately, but as the concept grew, excitement surged within me as I imagined launching the company alongside friends. "You're right," I finally conceded. "The social elites would likely withdraw their support if they learned of my involvement." He nodded gravely, and the weight of the conversation settled between us. I was lost in thought, grappling with how to gently let Corinne and Letty down. I knew they would be disappointed, but I trusted they would ultimately understand. That was the essence of true friendship, after all. "This is a significant opportunity, and I don't want you to miss it," he said, interrupting my spiraling thoughts. "Would your friends be open to having you as a silent partner?" Hope flickered within me, growing brighter as he outlined the possibilities. In previous business ventures where I had provided capital, I had played the role of a silent investor, holding shares and having a say in major decisions while remaining mostly incognito. Only. The CEO and board members were aware of my involvement. "That could work," I replied, the shadows of doubt lifting slightly. "I'll talk to them, but I'm sure they won't have any objections," I added, a smile breaking through. "It's settled then," he declared, rising from his chair. "Speak with them, and once you've made arrangements, let me know so I can draft the necessary documents." "Thank you, Rogers, for your unwavering support," I replied, grateful. "Anytime. After all, you do pay me handsomely for ensuring your worries are sorted," he quipped with a smile. "See you, Ava," he said as he walked out. As soon as he left, I picked up my phone, eager to call Letty first, followed quickly by Corinne. She answered on the first ring. "Letty, I've got—" Before I could finish, she interjected, her voice heavy with regret. "I'm really sorry, Ava. I've been wanting to apologize, but I didn't know where to start." Her tone, laced with remorse, stirred an instinct in me to comfort her, to take away whatever burden weighed on her heart. "What are you talking about, Letty? What do you need to apologize for?" I asked, glancing at the wall opposite me, a perplexed frown knitting my brow. As far as I was concerned, there had been no conflict, no reason to seek forgiveness. "For pushing," she confessed, her words tumbling out in a rush. "I keep insisting on the issue with Rowan without realizing how much it hurts you. I just want you to be happy, and a part of me believes Rowan is your happiness. It's tough to accept all those years of love between you two are now overshadowed." "Letty?" I thought I'd finally be able to speak, but she continued her passionate tirade. "I want you to find happiness. You told me once you hoped Rowan would have feelings for you, but now that it seems he does, you're skeptical and resistant. I just don't understand why." A deep sigh escaped my lips, fatigue washing over me as I realized we were treading familiar ground once more. "I'll explain this once, and I don't want to revisit it again," I breathed deeply, gathering my resolve. "I loved Rowan, a part of me always will. You can't erase that kind of love, but the pain he caused me has buried it beneath an avalanche of hurt. His actions have suffocated my love, transforming it into something unbearable. To protect the fragments of myself that remain, I had to bury it, ensuring it remained untouched by his influence." With each word, a stab of anguish struck my heart. Though I knew the love was still there, it lay dormant, eclipsed by years of his cruelty. It was a festering wound, one that tugged at my soul far more than any physical pain ever could. He didn't ever lift a hand against me, but sometimes I wish he had. Physical injuries heal. "The scars on the heart and soul cut deeper," I went on, my heartache spilling into the words I spoke. "I can't fathom how that must feel, Ava," Letty said, her sobs mingling with my pain as she absorbed my words. "I'm sorry for dredging up such painful memories." "I know you meant well, Letty, but Rowan isn't my key to happiness. We were not happy in the 9 years we spent married. Why would things be any different now?" I could almost hear her heart sinking at my proclamation, the truth too harsh to bear. I was firm in my belief that Rowan's feelings toward me had long since morphed into indifference or perhaps even resentment. Any chance of rekindling what we once had felt too bleak, too far-fetched to even consider. "I promise I'll never bring it up again," she said, her remorse palpable even through the phone. Relief washed over me. "Thank you," And let's not forget, I've sworn off men completely. Love is not in the cards for me. After all, history clearly indicates I possess a dismal taste in that department, I added, attempting to lighten the mood. Her laughter broke through my heavy heart, a welcome sound. I remember that declaration well. I guess the new business venture is well-timed. Free sex toys for you, right? Her laughter was infectious, and I could picture the gleam of amusement in her eyes. Speaking of which, I dove into the details of my discussion with Rogers, explaining why being a silent partner was the right choice. Just as I had anticipated, she accepted the concept wholeheartedly. I fully support it. I'm certain Corinne will as well. I'll talk to her later, she promised. Before I forget, she continued, did you manage to buy from the list we sent you? I plan to swing by after my meeting with the lawyer, I replied. Well, you better hurry up then, your feedback is crucial. She paused as someone called. Her name then returned to the conversation. I have to run, there's an impromptu meeting I need to attend. It's all right, have a wonderful day and remember to keep me posted about the toys. With that, we ended the call. I busied myself with chores before slipping into the refreshing embrace of a shower. After preparing, I set off for the mall, trepidation coiling around my stomach. Excitement mingled with anxiety, surfacing from the prospect of plunging into what society might judge harshly, a venture into a sex toy shop. Following Corinne's directions, I navigated my way through the mall. Relief washed over me when I arrived at the store, tucked away in a discreet corner. But doubt crept back in like a thief in the night. Could I truly go through with this? I was engulfed in contemplation when his unmistakable voice cut through the air. Ava. Panic washed over me as I froze, my heart racing with dread. What was he doing here? Restore scroll position, Chapter 76, mirror. Mirror on the wall, one swivel around. Shocked to see Rowan standing behind me. Could this day get any worse? I ask myself, groaning internally. Rowan, I shriek, caught off guard. What the hell are you doing here? Of all the times I had to bump into him, why now when I was standing in front of a sex toy shop? This had to be the most embarrassing thing I've ever experienced. I could ask you the same thing, he says, looking behind me. I feel my cheeks redden because I know nothing I say will get me out of the situation. I was standing in front of the shop and its windows displayed a variety of sex toys. It was hard to shrug off what kind of store this was. I look back at the store before facing him nervously. I don't know why I was nervous, but I was. I'm here to shop for maternity clothings and buy some things for the baby, I lie. He looks at me, his left eyebrow raised. In a sex shop, I don't think you'll find what you're looking for here unless you have other things in mind. The tilt of his mouth lets me know that he was teasing me, which was a completely new concept to me. Instead of answering him, I start walking in the other direction. I expected him to at least leave me alone, but he doesn't. Instead, he falls in step with me. I didn't take you for a woman who would use sex toys, he says, making me halt in my steps. What the hell was wrong with him? Why the hell was he even bringing this up? Didn't he get the memo that I wanted nothing to do with him? That I didn't want him near me? It was the reason why I walked away in the first place. First of all, you don't know the type of woman I am. You never did, mainly because you thought I was beneath you or something, and second of all, what's wrong with using dildos and vibrators to pleasure myself? I am a human being with needs, and they have to be fulfilled one way or another. Now leave me the hell alone. 1 5 + 15 bonus 1. See an inferno light up in his eyes, but I don't dwell on it. Not giving him a chance to speak, I start walking again. This time I quicken my steps. The man infuriated me, and at times like this, I want nothing more than to slap the daylights out. Gets worse when I remember all the shit he put me through, all because he was in love with Emma. Note the sarcasm. Of him I was now fuming. I would like to blame the pregnancy hormones, but I couldn't put all the blame on them. Ava? What? Stopping, I snap, now realizing that he was striding next to me. He was looking at me with his head tipped to the side, almost like I was a puzzle he was trying to figure out. Here's a mom and baby shop, he says, pointing at the store that was a few feet from us. I know I had lied about why I was here, but seeing the store made me realize that I was indeed in need of maternity clothes. Plus, I had yet to buy anything for the baby. I stomped my feet grudgingly as I walked toward the store. I stopped just as I crossed the threshold and put my arms out. What the hell are you doing? I ask him when I realize that he was about to walk inside with me. Isn't it obvious? I am here to help you shop. I didn't ask nor do I need your help, so turn your ass around and go back to where you came from. I had reached my limit with him being so pushy about things that no longer concerned him. Where was he when I needed him? Now that I don't, he thinks he can force himself in my life? It's not going to happen. 2, instead of backing off, he gets into my face, so much so that there is barely any space between us. I'm staying and I'm going. To watch as you try every fucking piece of cloth, Ava. You better get it inside your head because I'm not leaving until you buy what you need. My mouth falls open at his audacity. How dare he? Who the hell did he think he was? He wasn't even the baby's father, for fuck's sake. 215 plus 15 bonus before I can get a chance to give him a piece of my mind. Someone interrupts our stare down. You could literally cut the tension with a damn knife. Hi, how can I help you too? The sweet voice says behind us, my wife is looking for some clothes for herself, and the baby Rowan answers before I can, leaving me completely shocked on what the actual hell? Wife, I wasn't his fucking wife anymore. Why the hell would he tell her that? I swear Rowan has completely lost it. He has gone ahead and joined the loony train. That was the only explanation why he was behaving in such a way. 2, the store attendant smiles and motions for us. Fall. Me, my name is Wendy, and we've just received beautiful exclusive pieces that I'm sure your wife will like before I can correct her for her mistake. Rowan grabs my hand and gently drags me into the store, following behind Wendy like a damn puppy. She sits us on one of the sofas, then leaves. I turn and glare at Rowan, completely pissed off. What the hell was that back there? I fume, feeling my anger reach dangerous peaks. He looks at me lazily before casually answering me with another question. What was what? Don't play dumb with me. Why the hell did you call me your wife? Have you forgotten we're divorced? Or that you're now dating Emma? Here are the pieces, Wendy says, walking towards us with a stack of clothes. What was with her and interrupting me? I was now mad at the poor soul because Rowan had pissed me off. 2. How about we start with this one? She asks, holding a beautiful maxi dress up for me. If it wasn't for the fact that I was seething, I would have appreciated how beautiful the dress actually was. Go, try it on, Rowan says, seemingly unaffected by the suffocating tension in the room. Grabbing the dress, I stomped to the direction of the changing rooms. He had another thing coming if he thought that I was going to model for him. He could rot in hell for all I cared. 3-5 plus 15 bonus taking out my clothes, I put on the dress. The moment I look at myself in the mirror, all my anger just sort of fades away. One looked damn beautiful. The dress did wonders for my figure and my growing baby bump. I immediately decide to take it. After that, I call Wendy. She hands me the next piece of cloth. It was a sundress and looked really nice. Just like with the maxi dress, this one also looked really good on me. I loved their exclusive pieces. They were gorgeous and just perfect for expectant mothers. It was as I was about to try on a pair of jeans that the door opened. His presence immediately alerted me that it was Wendy in the room with me. I stood frozen, my eyes connecting with his through the mirror. He was holding a blue top while I stood in nothing but my bra and panties. What the hell, Rowan? I whisper, yelled, turning to face him while trying to hide my ass and bulging boob which literally spilled out of my bra. Which reminded me, I needed maternity bras too. He doesn't say anything. His eyes slowly peruse my body. It almost felt like a gentle caress, and it made me uncomfortable. Taking one of the long dresses, I use it as some sort of shield, hiding my partial nakedness. He drops the top and starts to move towards me as if he was in a sort of trance. 2. Before I have the chance to do anything, he cages me between his body and the mirror. My breath starts coming out rapidly as I start to panic. I never thought that I would find myself in such a position with Rowan. He lifts his hand, his finger caressing my lips, my neck before falling on my cleavage. They're bigger than I remember, he says gruffly, his voice filled with something I don't want to acknowledge. 1 step away, Rowan, I murmur. Instead of doing what I asked, his hand continues its descent downward. He pushes the dress aside and places his hand on my baby bump. My breath still and his picks up. His eyes stare at mine, and that's when I see it. I wanted to be wrong. I thought I was wrong, but I 4-5 never saw directed at me. I saw nothing but burning desire. Plus 15 bonus, I'm completely frozen by what I've seen. Unable to believe it. Unable to understand it. I remain frozen in shock as his head descends. Before he can get too close, I push him away. Unable to take in what was happening or the desire that had coated the room. My shove seems to have woken him up from his trance. He shakes his head as if trying to get rid of the fog. I was breathing hard, confused as fuck about what had happened. Ava, he says almost on a plea. Not another fucking word, I snarl at him. I quickly put my clothes on before fleeing the room. I really loved the clothes, but I will be damned if I had to spend another minute in Rowan's presence. Within minutes, I'm outside the mall. Getting into my car, I drive off. My mind was a mess as I tried to figure out what the hell was wrong with Rowan and why the hell he did what he did. Rowan has never looked at me with desire, so why the hell did it look like he wanted nothing more than to take me against that mirror? 3. Share to your friends. Chapter 76 tip. You can use left, right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Tap the middle of the screen to reveal reading options. If you find any errors, non-standard content, adds redirect, broken links, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Report. Restore scroll position. Chapter 77 Bane of my existence. Rowan fuck. Watch as Ava flees from the shop. I want to follow her, but I know that I've messed up big time. I saw the panic in her eyes, but it was like I was in a trance. My mind shut down completely when I saw her almost naked body. I didn't realize that I had moved or that I had cornered her. It wasn't until she pushed me away that I realized what I was about to do. She was my wife for fuck's sake, but she has never affected me on this level. I've seen her naked countless times, yet this time it was different. I couldn't fucking explain it, but it was. It was like I was seeing her for the first time. Our sex life was good, but I had always held back. I still loved Emma back then, and every time I sought intimacy from Ava, I felt like I was betraying Emma. 5. It was the hardest at the beginning of our marriage. I drowned in guilt each time I touched Ava, always drinking myself stupid after we were done. After, I learned to ignore the guilt, learned to push it back so my body can get what it needs. 2. Even though I didn't love Ava, I couldn't cheat. After watching my parents, I took marriage and my vows seriously. I had countless of opportunities, but I couldn't have TR to do it even if I run my hand through my hair, grabbing the strands in frustration. The intensity at which I'd wanted Ava a few minutes ago almost brought me to my knees. I couldn't get the image of her sexy little body out of my fucking mind, or the image I had of moving her panties to the side and sinking inside her warm heat. I hadn't even seen her whole body, yet I was fucking hard. Harder than I've ever been my entire fucking life. The whole thing just confused me and scared the crap out of me. Cursing again, I leave the room, the need to escape filling my bones. I was not only trying to escape the memories, but also the need that had taken every inch of my body. 1. I usually don't shop in malls. I have everything custom made by an exclusive designer. Mom had plus 15 bonus. I never expected to see Ava. I saw her just as I was about to pull off the parking lot. She looked nervous and shifty, so I decided to follow her, because I was curious on what would make her that nervous. Part of me wishes I hadn't, because now I'm fucking sure she'll want to distance herself even more. Getting into my car, I drive off, heading towards my parents' house. I was wound up so tight that it was barely hard to breathe. Everything inside me was coiled, and I still couldn't get the damn image of Ava out of my mind. I get to the house in record time. Picking up the toy, I head on inside. I was going to hand it over, then I was going to my club to get myself a fucking drink. You're finally here, did you get it? Mom asks, looking up from the sofa she was sitting on. I just nod my head, gritting my molars against the frustration I was currently feeling. As always, a mother knows when something is right, when her child is struggling. Is something wrong? She asks, frowning. I'm not a heart-to-heart man, but for a fucking moment I think of talking to her. I stop myself though, because how can I? How can I tell her that the woman we've spent almost a decade hating now has me all tied up in knots? That she's all I think about almost every second of the day. How can I tell her that if Ava hadn't pushed me away, I would have probably fucked her in the changing room? That it wouldn't have been enough and I would have taken her back to my home and started all over again? Is this about the article? Her question pulls me from my daydreaming. What article? She straightens and picks her phone from the table. She scrolls through it, taps on something, and then hands it to me. I take a seat as I look at the article that was published about an hour ago. Rowan Wood caught on camera with ex-wife Ava Sharp while entering a mom and baby shop. Could the divorced couple be expecting their second child? Stay tuned as we gather more information on whether Ava is truly pregnant, and if she is, when it happened, given they've been 215. I curse, my hands folding into fists. Plus 15 bonus. From what I know, only 4 people knew that Ava was pregnant. She was going to lose it when she finds out about the article. I place Mom's phone down and take my own, dialing the number of one of my contacts in the entertainment industry. I wait for her to pick up. Sir. She picks up on the first ring. There is a new article about me and Ava circulating. I want it taken down. I growl, fueled by anger. I see it. Give me 10 minutes. Also let it be known that if anyone is caught writing articles about Ava's private life, they'll face bankruptcy. Yes, sir. I cut of the phone, still fuming. Ava has always been a private person. I was going to protect her privacy at all cost. It doesn't matter what it takes. What's going on between you and Ava, Ro? Mom asks after her while. Her gaze piercing mine as if she was trying to find the answers by staring deep into my soul. I was glad she didn't ask if the pregnancy rumor was true. That wasn't my secret to tell, and I wouldn't even have told her. I don't know, I answer her in frustration. Kate tells me that you've been distant with Emma. Emma told her that you broke things off and won't even talk to her. Is this because of Ava? I think of lying to her, but what would be? The use, partly I hear her sharp intake of air. I don't look at her, afraid of what I'll see in her eyes. 3-5 plus 15 bonus, did you know that Ava was Kate and James' daughter? I ask when she doesn't say anything for a long time. Yes, is that the reason you hated her? No, she says, surprising me. I hated her because she took your happiness away. She took your light away. You loved Emma so much, and because of her obsession, you lost her. You don't know how painful it was for me to watch my son living like a zombie. It was like when you lost Emma you died, Rowan. We didn't get you back until Noah was born, and even then, you didn't come back to us fully. I shake my head. I don't want to remember how I was drowning back then. I was basically a dead man living. It was the worst period of my fucking life. You hated her back then, but I see that has changed. I spent almost 30 minutes looking at the pictures of you two standing outside that store. You stared at her in awe. You looked at her like she was your world. You looked at her like you were in love with her. I face my mother, staring at her in shock. She had to be wrong some 3. Gabe found out she didn't lie when she said she was drunk. He was able to get the footages of that night, I whisper, trying to change the subject. It still sits heavily in my heart knowing what I did to Ava. All the fucking pain I caused her. She took it all until she couldn't anymore, until she finally had enough and kicked us out of her life. Then, I need to apologize to her for my part in shunning and hating her. Her tone is somber, and I know it's already killing her to know she had been wrong about Ava too. We're quiet for a moment. Each of us lost in our own thoughts. That's until she speaks up. You have to tell her, Rowan. You have to tell Ava you love her. 9 years have already been wasted. 9 years where you would have been happy with her. You have to tell her before it's too late, too. But how can I tell her? I run my hand down my face. How can I tell her when I'm not even sure what I feel? She has me in knots and I don't really know what it is I feel towards her. It's all so fucking confusing, and that is the bane of my existence. The fact that I don't know how to describe what I feel for 4-5 plus 15 bonus, language, she admonishes before sighing. I think you spent so much time hating and resenting her that those ugly feelings are now fighting against the feelings that are coming up and the developing Ches. That is why you're confused, because you are trying to reset feelings that have been dominant for years, she continues. Just take your time and don't rush it. As for Ava, I saw how she looked at you. The love she once had is either gone or buried deep inside. My advice, don't push her too much or she'll snap and completely cut you off. I nod my head as I accept her advice. After spending a few more minutes with her, I leave. I was more relaxed than I had been when I arrived, but the tension was still there. It was as I was driving to my office that I accepted the truth. I did have feelings for Ava. Strong ones at that. I just didn't know how deep they went or what exactly they were. It was time I find that out. Share to your friends Chapter 77 tip. You can use left-right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Tap the middle of the screen to reveal reading options. If you find any errors, non-standard content, ads redirect, broken links, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Report. Restore scroll position Chapter 78. Will always love you Ava plus 15 bonus. The moment I saw my parents on my doorstep, I knew that they had seen the damn article. Letty had sent me the link a few minutes after I got home. It pissed me off more than I already was. I hadn't been ready to let others know, and the damn paparazzi had blasted it on the entire internet. I wasn't even worried about the others' reaction. My worry was solely on Mom and Dad's reaction. I just haven't found a way to tell them that I was pregnant. The entire thing was even more complicated since Ethan was still not talking to them. The article had disappeared a few minutes before my parents arrived. I had a strong suspicion that Rowan had something to do with it. Just his name brought anger like no other. I shake the thoughts of what happened in the changing room and focus on my parents who were staring at me questioningly. You saw the article, didn't you? I asked the obvious. The house was quiet, mainly because Noah wasn't back from school yet. Yes, Dad responds, his eyes piercing mine. I know we haven't had a lot of time with you, Ava, but why didn't you tell us? Mom whispers in a small voice. A baby is a blessing, and I thought we were past the point where you feel you can't talk to us. I feel how hurt she is. It hurts me to know that I've hurt them. They've been nothing but amazing to me. The kind of parents I've always wanted, always wished for. How do I explain to them that I wanted to? I just didn't know how to get it out. You have to believe that I wanted to tell you so many times, I just didn't know how to, I whisper back, my eyes on my shaky hands. Why would you have a hard time telling us? Dad brows frown in confusion. He was trying to figure out my reasons, but none seemed to be making sense. Because of who the father is, 17 plus 15 bonus, I hear Mom's sharp intake of air. You mean Rowan isn't the father? Why does everyone think Rowan is the one that got me pregnant? We were divorced for fuck's sake. I nod my head, still looking down. I didn't know it back then, but fact remains that I slept with my adopted brother. I am sure Ethan never told them those specific details, which makes telling them all the more difficult. It is even more messed up that Ethan knew the whole damn time, and yet he still went ahead and slept with me. You have to know that we will never judge you, Ava. Whoever the father is, it doesn't matter, Mom adds when she sees I'm still hesitant. Even if the father of my baby is Ethan, I choke out, it still felt like a damn sin. Ethan and I weren't related, but he was their son in every way. The silence that descends is heavy. They both look at me in complete shock. Their mouths open and close wordlessly, as if they can't form any word. Damn it, I knew this was a bad idea. What if they hate me? What if they hate Ethan? I let out a long sigh. I also couldn't keep it a secret from the forever. Ethan is the father? Mom stammers, tears filling her eyes. Yes, I didn't know that he was my adopted brother when I started a relationship with him. But he knew, Dad booms, standing up angrily. He was fuming. It was easily written all over his face. Is this why he doesn't want to see us? I didn't think he had gone this far. That he fucking seduced you knowing very well you're our daughter, I'm surprised. I have never ever heard Dad curse. He didn't seduce me. I jumped into the relationship willingly. I tell Dad, feeling my cheeks turning pink for some reason. Sure, I wouldn't have gotten into a relationship with him had I known the truth, but he didn't seduce me. Everything that happened between us was consented. 4. He tricked you, Ava. Mom sighs. Your dad is right. Ethan knew the truth, but you didn't. He basically seduced you knowing very well he's your adopted brother. That was wrong of him. Really wrong, I know, and I'm disgusted when I think about it. He won't stay in prison forever, and I did give him 217 explain that their father is your son, adopted or not. Fihan is still this has been one of my biggest worry. I don't want my child to vice me in a negative way, come tell them the truth. But that would mean making his or her dad seem like a fucking sickney. Mom stands up and comes to sit next to me. She pulls me into her arms and huge me close heel. My eyes start to fill with tears. Damn hormones. It's okay, baby. Don't worry about it. We still love you and we will love the baby, Dad adds. Joining us, we stay in each other's embrace for a while before separating, another grandbaby. This is so awesome. I better start shopping, Mom says excitedly, her face transforming with the smile that takes over. She was literally jumping up and down like a schoolgirl. How many people can brag that they're grandmas at 43? I am a young and chick grandmother, and I still energetic enough to run around with my grandkids. Dad and I laugh in amusement as Mom twirls around in my living room like a ballerina standing up. Dad pulls her into his arms and kisses her. He then spins her as Mom laughs in joy. I smile at them. This is the kind of marriage I'd wanted. The kind of love I'd craved for. I feel a pang in my heart, but I don't let it bother me. I'd already let go of those fantasies. I'd accepted that their kind of love wasn't in the cards for me. After that, they stay a little before they leave. I felt like a burden had been lifted from my shoulders. My biggest fear had been that they would reject my child. Seeing how in the end they were excited to have an additional grandchild eased something inside me. Soon Noah arrives and I get busy helping him with homework and making him snacks. I like being organized, so I sort his uniform for the next day and everything he would need. I had just finished when there was a knock on my door. Dragging my feet, I leave Noah's room and go to open the door. Ava Sharp, the delivery man asks. 357 plus 15 bonus. Damn it, I need to change my last name. The Sharp's name no longer belonged to me. Yes, I have a delivery for you. I roll my eyes. I don't get why they always have to say that. I mean, I already can tell you're here to deliver something. It's obvious. I didn't order anything, I tell him. Not my problem. Rude. Maybe he saw me rolling my eyes at him. Before I can say anything, he shoves the box into my hand and walks away. I watch his back in shock, memorizing the name of the company he worked for. I didn't order anything, but I sure was going to give them a 1-star rating and a scathing review. Taking the box inside the house, I close the door and head to the living room. "What's that?" Noah asks, eyeing the package. I don't know. I debate whether I should open it or not. There is still danger looming around from the Reapers. What if it was a bomb or something? I don't get a chance to debate too much on it because Noah jumps up, takes the box, and tears it open. "Noah!" I shout, my heart in my throat. If it had been a bomb, we would have been blown into pieces. Didn't he have a sense of safety? "You do not open packages that you don't know anything about?" I snap at him, trying to calm my erratic beating heart. He just shrugs his shoulder. I was curious, so I opened it. He looks inside and his face turns into distaste. "I thought there would be something cool, but it's nothing but a bunch of dresses." "Wait, what?" Plus 15 bonus. I take the box from him and check inside. I remove each one of the piece of clothes, slowly realizing that each piece is one from the mom and baby shop. They were all the clothes I had tried and liked, the ones that I'd wanted to buy before shit happened with Rowan. How the hell? I stop the thought as realization sinks in. Rowan, the bastard, must have bought them. "They're really nice dresses, Mommy. You'll look beautiful in them," Noah says, just as the thought of burning them crosses my mind. "Thank you, my love." I force a smile on my face. "I'm going to prepare dinner. Finish up so you can take a shower." Leaving the box of clothes, I head to the kitchen. I still wasn't sure what to do about the clothes. I didn't want anything from Rowan. If we're being honest, this is the first I've ever gotten from the man. Thinking of the clothes made me think of the scene at the changing room. I still don't know what the hell had gotten into him. Something just wasn't right. He was behaving so unlike himself. I hated the desire I saw in his eyes. I hated that I felt his hardened dick pressing against my stomach. Rowan has never found me attractive, never looked at me like he wanted to eat me up, so what the hell has changed? "Ava," I swivel around at his voice, staring at him in shock as he stood at the door to the kitchen. "What are you doing here, and how the hell did you get in?" I ask, feeling my early anger start rising up. "Noah let me in," he answers, stepping forward. "I didn't want him in my house. I didn't want him in my life. He can't treat me like trash for 9 years then all of a sudden have a change of heart. It doesn't fucking work like that." "Get out," I snap in anger. "Ava, get out of my fucking house." Rowan too. I try to hold it back, but the shit he put me through comes barreling back up. I don't see him now. 517 plus 15. Bonus. Listen to me, Ava. Like you listened every time I told you I was drunk and you didn't believe me, or every time I begged you to give us a chance but you wouldn't listen. Wouldn't give me the time of day. I take a deep breath, trying to calm down. "I've heard enough from you to last me a lifetime. I left you like you've always fucking wanted. Why can't you do the same for me? Haven't I already paid enough for loving you? What more do you want from me?" Tears threaten to fall, but I hold them back. I won't let him see me lose it. "You've always thrown your love for Emma in my face. She's here, Rowan. You can have the love of your fucking life and leave me the hell alone. Don't come to my appointments, don't take me shopping, and don't buy me clothes. Just ignore me like you always have." I finish and collapse against the kitchen counter too. I see something flash in his eyes. Pain, regret, sorrow. I don't know, and right now I don't care. "Are you two fighting?" Noah asks, his voice cutting through the tense atmosphere. His eyes are hard, his mouth compressed in a thin line. "No, we're not," I sigh tiredly. "Your father was just leaving." I glare at Rowan, giving him the silent command to leave. Hopefully he will never step foot into my house again. Noah nods and leaves. Rowan turns to leave but then stops. "I'm sorry, Ava. So fucking sorry." His tone is hard, almost like he was fighting his emotions. "Just leave, Rowan, and take the clothes you bought with you." "No." I resist the urge to stomp my foot at his stubbornness and throw a pan at his head. "Fine, I'll just give them away to charity. Do as you wish, Ava." "They are your clothes." With that he walks out of the kitchen. 617 plus 15 bonus. I hear murmurs, and then a while Ister one hear the front door open and close. I breathe a sigh of relief now that Rowan's suffocating presence was gone. As I make dinner, I harden my heart, belighting fortress walls around it. I don't know what game Rowan was playing, but I'll be damned before I allow my heart to get involved with him again. Share to your friends. Chapter 78 tip. You can use left, right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Tap the middle of the screen to reveal reading options. If you find any errors, non-standard content, ads, redirect, broken links, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Report. Restore scroll position. Chapter 79, kidnapped again. Today I wasn't in the best of moods. Mainly because Noah was still mad at me for kicking Rowan out. I thought I had covered things up well. It turns out that he could see past my bullshit. At times like this, I wish that we hadn't pretended in front of Noah. I know that we thought we were protecting him, that we were giving him a happy childhood. All we did was deceive him. Now he has it in his head that we were once in love and that we can be again. I don't know how to tell him the truth without breaking his little heart. I don't know how to tell him that everything he believes about me and Rowan is a lie. My biggest fear is that he'll hate us for lying to him if the truth comes out. Then again, we can't continue like this. We continue with him believing that there is a chance for me and Rowan. I sigh and get out of bed. I had gone back to sleep after Noah left for school. As the days progress, the bigger I get and the more tired I feel. Dragging my feet, I head to the bathroom and take a shower. It still doesn't take away the fatigue from my bones. Deciding on a dress, I put on a white spaghetti strap dress with blue flowers on it. It reached just above my knees and showed my belly. Since my parents now knew the truth about my pregnancy, it was time to stop hiding it. Not in the mood to do my makeup, I opt for just concealer to cover up my dark under eyes. I leave my room and get downstairs just as my doorbell rings. I was really not in the mood to see or talk to anyone. Not when I was feeling like shit. I open my front door and wish that I hadn't. Travis was standing on my doorstep looking disheveled. I go to close the door, but he stops it before I can slam it on his face. Please, Ava, he begs tiredly. What do you want? I ask, my voice cold even to my own ears. It was really funny how much my voice automatically changes nowadays. I don't even put any effort in it. It just grows cold and unattached, as if I was speaking to a total stranger. Can I come in? He asks. Plus 15 bonus, fuck no. Speak what you came here to say and leave. I would be lying if I said I wasn't curious about why he was here. The last time I saw Travis was when Mother revealed the truth about how I came to be a sharp. I see him hesitate and my curiosity gets stronger. Travis has always been arrogant and assured. To see him this nervous in front of me was intriguing. Get it out already. I don't have all day, I snap after a few minutes of him being quiet. I was starting to question why I even gave him a chance to speak. I should have called the police in his sorry ass. I was wondering if you could talk to Nora and Theo, he finally speaks, but it was so low I had to straining to hear him. About what? Sharp Corp, they've gone after us. Making almost all investors who are in their contact to drop our company, he says brokenly. The company is sinking, Ava. We are losing investors, customers, and funds. Too, I sigh. If I were being honest, I thought Mom and Dad's threat was just that, a threat. I didn't really think that they would actually go after the Sharps for what they did too. Me, if there is anything that Travis loves more than anything, it's that company. It was and is his pride. And joy. To have him here, basically begging me to help him means he has reached the end of the road. It means he has tried everything and talking to me is the last and only resort. You have to know, I don't really care if that company sinks or not, I state. Folding my hands across my chest, he looked tired and worn out. Like he has been burning both ends of the candle. Letty hasn't mentioned anything about this to me. Then again, I told her never to speak about Travis in my presence. Please, Ava, I beg you. We're family. Hearing that word has my hackles up, bringing the familiar angry burn. Family? I scoff. How are we family, Travis? If I remember correctly, you cut me off. You said I was dead to you and renounced me as your sister years ago. Then you went and proved just how 214 Ava. Plus 15 bonus, I cut him off. I don't want to hear a thing from his damn mouth. Every time you took Emma's side, every time you treated me like trash, every fucking time you laughed when Rowan tore my heart to pieces because I hurt you, precious sister. Did you consider me you family? What about the times you said I deserved the pain I was going through? Or when father and mother ignored me like I didn't matter? What about all the time you all shunned me? Was I still your family? He doesn't say anything, but what is there to say anyway? He knows the truth. He didn't consider me family back then. To him and the rest I was nothing but an unwanted nuisance, one they would do anything to get rid of. So tell me, if you didn't consider me your family back then, what makes you think I'll consider you my family now? Whatever you are trying to do by playing the family card with me won't work. My eyes pierce his. I used to note the difference between us. Travis and Emma didn't look alike, but by just seeing them you could guess that they're related. I, on the other hand, looked nothing like any of them. That should have been the first clue that I wasn't one of them. Let's be honest, you've never cared about me. The only reason you're here is because you think you can use me, but I won't let you. Go home, Travis, and don't ever darken my doorstep again. With that, I push him away and slam the door hard. I lean against it, breathing hard. It's quiet for a few minutes before I hear his car start up and speed off, feeling the need. To escape the house, I take my car keys. I was just leaving when I noticed the clothes Rowan bought. I take them, planning to pass by a shelter to give them away. Within minutes, I'm on the road. My mind was all over the place. First with Rowan and now Travis. The audacity they had to think that they could just walk into my life and demand things. The thought that everything can be easily forgotten was completely delusional. If Rowan was Noah's dad, I would have demanded he stay out of my life completely. Everything that I do with Noah's interest at heart. I've been tempted so many times to take Noah far away, but the love he has for his father stops me every time. 3, I've wanted to move far away from here, but I know that the move will hurt Noah. Rowan thinks Noah loves me more. He just doesn't realize that he loves him just as much. 3, 4 plus 15 bonus sporting an ice cream shop, I decide to stop. The front was packed, so I park at the back instead. A little comfort is what I need right now. I'll eat some ice cream while I try to clear my head. I get into the dainty and cozy shop and order myself a big bowl of ice cream. I usually can eat any flavor of ice cream, just as long as it's ice cream, but on the days I'm feeling down and need comfort, I go for plain vanilla. My mind wanders to Travis. I'm not sure about how my parents are going about everything. I'm not the revenge type of person. I usually just let karma do her thing because the way she fucks people up is on another level. I'm on the fence about the revenge thing. Part of me wants to see them crash and burn. The other part just wants to let everything go and just forget they exist. Does it make me evil that the bigger part wants to see them in pain, that it wants to see them suffer? I finish my ice cream and leave still as conflicted as I was when I entered the place. Maybe talking to someone will give me some clarity. Deciding to go see my therapist, I head towards my car. I don't get near it, though, because someone grabs me and covers my mouth and nose before I can scream. Within seconds, everything disappears and I fall into darkness. 4 Share to your friends Chapter 79 tip. You can use left, right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Tap the middle of the screen to reveal reading options. If you find any errors, non-standard content, adds redirect, broken links, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Report. Restore scroll position Chapter 80. Meeting Reaper, wake up. I groan, but I don't open my eyes. The voice sounded so far away and I thought that I was dreaming because how else would the voice sound so familiar? Ava, wake the fuck up. This time I open my eyes. The voice sounded too real to be a dream. Also, why the hell would I dream of her? My vision is blurry as my eyes try to adjust. As the seconds go by, the memories of earlier come back to me. Shit, I've been kidnapped again. My brain was still fuzzy from what I assume is the chloroform I inhaled. I take a quick note of things, hoping that the chemical won't affect my baby. I was seated on a chair with my hands tied behind my back. Trying to move proves to be a moot point. The ropes were tight and they cut into my skin. Whoever took me probably didn't want to risk me escaping. Are you done? She asks. I thought it was just my imagination, but it's not. I sharply turn to my left to find Emma also tied to a chair. She looked more alert, meaning she was here longer than I was. What the hell are you doing here? I ask her dumbly. I survey the area. It was one big room with absolutely nothing. No chair or furniture except the ones Emma and I were sitting on. There was nothing to give a clue of where we were or who this house belonged to. Isn't it obvious? We were both kidnapped, she answers sarcastically. I roll my eyes at her. Of course, I know that. What I meant to ask is why whoever it is would take both of us. I don't know who took us, but I have my suspicions. The only threat that was remaining was from someone who considered Emma more important to the Sharps and Rowan than I was. I don't know. How long have you been here? I tried calming my breaths. It wouldn't do me any good to panic. The more I try, the more I'm taken back to the night Ethan betrayed me. Didn't things happen almost in the exact same way? With the difference being Letty was the one kidnapped alongside me instead of Emma. Fear grips me as I think of that day. Fear that the same thing would happen again, that I was about to find out that someone close to me had betrayed me again. I'm not sure. I gained consciousness just as they carried you in. Emma's voice pulls me back from the painful memories. And how long have I been out? Maybe 15 or 20 minutes or so. I'm quiet after that, trying to do the math. It doesn't help, though, because I'm not sure how far out they drove from the ice cream shop. I start to panic again when I think of Noah. Oh my God, who is going to pick him up? School ends at 3:30, and when I got to the ice cream shop, it was already around noon. What if they decided to take him too? Calm down, I tell myself. You know the school will call Rowan if you're unable to pick him up. He'll be safe. I keep telling myself that until I calm down and my breathing stops being so erratic. Noah is going to be fine. Right now, I just needed to concentrate on myself. So it is true, you're pregnant, Emma speaks, making me turn to her. She was looking at my baby bump, even when she was being held hostage. She still looked damn beautiful. How the hell is that even possible? Maybe she was a goddess in her previous life or something. Instead of answering, I ignore her and face forward. My pregnancy was none of her fucking business. I start to struggle against the ropes, trying to loosen them. The ropes cut into my skin, but I keep trying. There was no way I was going to stay here with her the entire time. Can you just shut the fuck up and let me think? I snap at her. Why do you have to be so rude? She frowns at me. That's not going to fix anything. Why don't you just shut your mouth and let me think? I retort. She can't seem to stop talking. The sound of her voice grates on my nerves. She always annoyed me, but right now it was unbearable. Why don't you untie me? And when I'm done with her, I'll be coming for you next. I snarl at the man who just walked in. The guy just laughs. He finds it funny because he knows fighting me would be akin to fighting a child. I'd like to see you try, he scoffs at me. Is this what you do during your spare time? Kidnap helpless, defenseless women? Does it make you feel more like a man drugging a woman into unconsciousness? Shut up, he shouts at me, his face contorting into something ugly. He approaches me. His steps and movement are menacing, like a tiger about to pounce on its prey. Or what? What the hell are you doing? Stop it, Emma whisper yells, her voice fearful. Stop taunting him. I ignore her and smirk, looking directly at the huge man. They should cut off your dick. Any man that drugs 2 women is nothing but a pussy and isn't worthy of being called a man. To be honest, I don't even know why I was pushing his buttons. I remain quiet as Ronnie continues to talk, my heart beating wildly against my chest. You see, your ex-husband did something that pissed off a lot of people, Ronnie says, pacing back and forth in front of us. And unfortunately for you two, you're caught in the crossfire. Emma looks terrified, but she keeps her composure. I, on the other hand, am trying to figure out how to get us out of this situation. What did he do? I ask, trying to keep my voice steady. Ronnie stops pacing and looks at me, a smirk forming on his lips. He betrayed someone very powerful, someone who doesn't take betrayal lightly. And what does that have to do with us? I retort, trying to sound braver than I. Feel your leverage, Ronnie says simply. If we can't get to him, we'll get to him through you. My heart sinks. This was bad, very bad. We have nothing to do with his actions, Emma says, her voice trembling slightly. Why punish us for something he did? Ronnie laughs. Because, my dear, that's how the world works. Sometimes the innocent suffer for the sins of others. I clench my fists, feeling a surge of anger. And you think that makes it right? It doesn't matter if it's right or wrong, Ronnie says, leaning in closer. What matters is that it gets results. The door behind Ronnie opens and another man walks in. He looks just as intimidating, with a similar build and a stern expression. Boss, we have a problem, the man says, looking at Ronnie. Ronnie turns to face him, a frown forming on his face. What kind of problem? It's Rowan, he's here, the man says. Ronnie's eyes widen slightly and then he grins. Perfect, bring him in. I feel a mix of relief and fear. Rowan is here, but I have no idea what that means for us. The door opens again and Rowan steps inside. He looks furious, his eyes blazing with anger as he takes in the scene. Ava Emma, he says, his voice low and dangerous. Are you okay? We're fine, I say quickly, though I'm not sure how true that is. Rowan turns his attention to Ronnie. Let them go. Ronnie laughs. Or what? You'll kill me. If I have to, Rowan says, his voice deadly calm. Ronnie's grin fades. You're in no position to make demands, Rowan. Try me, Rowan says, taking a step forward. Before I can react, the man next to Ronnie lunges at Rowan. They grapple for a moment, but Rowan quickly overpowers him, knocking him to the ground. Ronnie looks furious, but he doesn't move. This isn't over, Rowan. You'll pay for what you did. Rowan doesn't respond. Instead, he moves to untie me and Emma. We're getting out of here, he says, his voice softening as he looks at me. I nod, feeling a wave of relief wash over me as he frees my hands. Emma and I stand up, and Rowan leads us out of the room. As we make our way to safety, I can't help but feel a glimmer of hope. Maybe, just maybe, things will be okay. Share to your friends Chapter 80 tip. You can use left, right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Tap the middle of the screen to reveal reading options. If you find any errors, non-standard content, adds redirect, broken links, etc., Please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Report.